And we're live. Good evening, everyone. I hope this has been a good day for you. Any of you that were affected by the bad weather we had yesterday, I hope you're over that. Hi, Scan of Freedom. Cindy, it's good seeing y'all. Jim Compton, it's good seeing you again.
I almost committed that.
What?
I almost committed that rookie mistake. I had YouTube open in another tab. I'm like, oh, I better get over there and stop it. I got there in time, thank goodness.
I'm glad you said that because I had it up on another screen.
We did a show a while back, and go ahead.
Let me go shut a door. I'll be right back.
That's all right. Hey, Maggie, how you doing? Cindy. So what's everybody doing to cope with the whole stay-at-home? Hope everybody's getting a lot of listing done and shipping out a bunch of orders.
Oh, Lord. Hey, Maggie. Hey, Ansley. My sons are having a wild game of, what's that thing called? It's one of the first-person shooters. They run around and they drop out of an airplane and all this kind of stuff.
Fortnite,
that's it.
Yeah. I've got a 12-year-old that's addicted to it.
Oh, is he?
We need to figure out a way to do school within Fortnite. But,
yeah, or everything's in a foreign language, so they have to learn the foreign language. You know.
Yeah, I had one order go out today too. I was just telling Tom before we went live. I sold one Eli Manning jersey. It was in pretty rough shape. I think I got about $10 for it, but it's the only thing I had going out today.
Anthony, my wife has started playing Animal Crossing on a Switch. Every time she sits down, she's playing with that thing. It's cute.
My daughter's played Animal Crossing on the Wii or the GameCube when it first came out.
Well, this is that new one they've got that just came out, or I say came out. She just got it, but it's really cute. School in the Sims, yeah. I was talking to, hey Tara, Jim. I gave you the link. Come in. Hey Liz. I was talking to the headmaster of the school that the boys went to, and I said, "How's it going?" He said, "We sat down and we went through everybody's grades and." Hey, Beth.
Hey, how are you?
How's it going?
Pretty
they
good.
Went through all the kids' grades and the ones that was doing really well, they said that you're done for the year. And the ones that was having some issues, they said we'll work with you to try to help you get your grade up. Otherwise, like 90% of the school they're done.
I mean, really, by the time you get to the last quarter, semester, whatever this would be, you probably covered 70-80% of what you're going to do for the year anyway.
Yeah, none of them's doing final exams or any of that kind of stuff. Even my next door neighbor is a teacher at a very expensive private school, and they have even they've come to they've done the same thing. You got a C or better, you're done. If you want to try to get that C to a B, then we'll work with you. If not, you're done. Anybody with a D or an F, then they've got work to do. But they just said trying to get all of the, they're using Google something or Google Meetings or whatever.
Google Meet is what you
something like that. and just by the time they got everybody going, it just wore them out. So anyhow, how are you today, Beth?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Miss Tara?
No, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing good.
What are you doing good at?
I've got a heartbeat, and I'm not in a wheelchair, and I'm not in a hospital bed. I'm doing good.
I had to go
That's
to the
something to be
doctor
thankful
today. I
Are
got
you
into
all right?
something. Yeah, I think I got into we've been clearing out a fence line, and then there was this old garden here that was all overgrown. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna take that fence down and I'm gonna cut that down because I don't like wild vines and all that kind of stuff. And I must have got into poison ivy or something. But I had this horrible rash up my arm, and then it's kind of across the front of me, like on my stomach now. And oh my God, it itched so bad I couldn't even hardly take it anymore. So I went into the doctor today, and they gave me some stuff for it.
I was afraid you were going to say you got into some poison sumac because I got into that one.
Well, I
time
don't
when
know what it is. Honestly, I mean, they think it's.
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God, I hope I don't have the shingles or something. They're like,
That
no, I
is
think
not-
it's poison ivy.
That's poison ivy or poison oak. If that because
Yeah.
poison sumac, I had it on my arm right here. It looked like somebody had taken a hot poker and just drug it right up through
Oh,
here.
and
It was.
That's no
itch.
fun.
I mean,
I had
horrible.
I had to wear a brace to keep my arm straight because every time
Yeah.
I bend it, it would break it
This
loose and it
summer.
would start draining and all this kind of stuff. And then you had to, then it would spread. But that stuff is nasty.
Oh yeah, it's on
And
my
it was
arm,
crazy.
on my stomach, a little bit on my leg. Yeah, it's bad. And then Jim tried to break his ankle, so we got that too.
Well, that's good that you didn't do that because I'd hated for you to have to put him down.
Well, he sprained it real bad. He can't hardly get around, but I guess he's still alive.
Well, I'm glad he's.
He's been a little bit of a wimp about it, but I told him he's got to learn to toughen up.
I'm packing boxes right now. I'm working. Literally working.
Ainsley wants to know if Tara wants to show her rash.
Oh, I don't know. Can you see it?
Ugh.
Can you see my arm?
Oh God, ladies, stop.
It's
It
not
looks
even
like
as
it's
bad as it was
bruised.
this morning.
gonna
See
get
that in here? And I'm not picking up my shirt for you to see it under my shirt. But.
That looks like a bruise.
No, it's a raised rash. It's not as irritated as it was this morning because they gave me a steroid shot and some hydrocortisone cream. So that really helped it today.
That sort of looks like a small case or light case of sumac because the way
I don't know.
it's a big clump. Poison ivy usually is spotted like the measles, or at
Yeah,
least
I
for
got a
me.
little piece of it on my face here. I have it across my ribs here. Yeah, it's not cool. I mean, it woke me up at 3 o'clock this morning because the itching was so bad I couldn't sleep anymore. Not to be a wimp, but
No, that stuff will. That poison ivy, poison oak will.
oh my God! So Jim looks it up because there is a sign with COVID where some people have these skin rash, type deal or whatever, and he's showing me pictures of it. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't go in then because I don't want to have coronavirus and then, be on this lockdown Kentucky quarantine where they're watching me or something,
It's
They're watching you already.
Yeah.
They might be.
If you get sick, you do not tell the
Yeah, and I'm not going to go in and get tested either. But anyway.
That'll be feel great.
It's been. We had a pretty nasty storm come through here yesterday morning about 3 o'clock. My niece lives down in Spencer, North Carolina, and they had a couple of tornadoes. One of them just demolished a manufacturing facility. Hey, Shirley, good to see you. No, Tara's not wimpy, I don't think.
No, but I don't like to go to the doctor either.
We lost power all day yesterday, so Roberta couldn't work. She can, and I said, "Are you going to the office?" She said, "No, her one of the guys that runs the office. He's not her manager or anything like that. He just takes care of the office. He said, no, the office is closed and you're a high risk, so you can't not go in there. So she just didn't work. And now today she has been like trying to catch up all day.
Yeah, it was bad like in Louisiana, Monroe, Louisiana. That's where Duck Dynasty is. They got hit real bad. And I think it was like bad in parts of Mississippi, like by Jackson, and maybe parts of Alabama too.
I don't know if I haven't talked to Kathy to see if they're okay over there.
Oh yeah, well it sounded like in Mississippi was down towards Jackson, and I think she's like North Mississippi, like up towards Memphis.
Yeah,
So
she's up there by Memphis.
Hopefully it didn't affect her.
So y'all doing okay out there in Texas, Beth?
Yeah, we're great.
Y'all,
We're great.
all your family doing good? No, nobody's picked up the bug or anything?
No, we had a family Zoom Easter, and that went great.
You had family what?
Family Zoom Easter.
Oh, you did it on Zoom?
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that was doing it on Zoom and StreamYards and Google Meetings or whatever they call it. Their commercial or their business meeting plan.
The most challenging part was getting my elderly parents set up on Zoom remotely when I couldn't see their screens. It was a nightmare.
I've been trying to get my mom to get a like an Android phone because she's got a flip phone. She says, no, this one does just fine. I know how to dial it and I know how to answer it, and that's fine. I'm like, okay,
How's your
Mom.
dad doing? How's your dad doing?
He is in rehab.
Oh, is he?
Probably going to
What
be there for about 10 days. Huh?
What happened?
He's just been sick, and he got to the point that my mom couldn't move him around. And so his PT was there, and she's like, no, this ain't going to work. So they took him to his heart was racing. So they called the ambulance. They took him to the hospital. What started it all was he fell. But he doesn't have any broken bones or any bleeding, up under the skin or anything like that. But the doctor said, we need to put him in PT and he needs to get more strength back in his legs. My mom can't pick him up if he falls. So it's been a kind of challenge, but it's been kind of good because my mom, after the first night, she's been able to sleep all night because she said the first night she would wake up and roll over to look at him to see if he was covered up.
Yeah.
And she said, the second night she guessed that she knew that he was at the hospital, so she wasn't waking up, and she kind of slept all night. I don't know what's going to happen if she doesn't have him. When it's his time to move on.
Yeah.
Because she's not dependent on him. She just, in the last 2 or 3 years, she's had to really be a nurse to him, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah, well, that's like Jim's mom. His dad passed away in January, but she was, the major caretaker there for him. So they get kind of where they switch roles or lose that role.
Maggie says, if I can get it to work right. And why is that doing it? There it is. She
Oh.
said that she spoke to a few nurses, and she says it's definitely on the downswing. I think the biggest thing is that we've had, we've had no, we didn't have enough of the tests, and then we got all the tests, and all of, that just escalated the number of people that have it. So
I have a picture to show Tom.
what's that?
This is my sister-in-law's sister. She's a nurse, and this is what she has to wear every day. Can you see
Wow.
that?
Yeah, my nieces I have two nieces that are nurses, and my son Nicholas's girlfriend is a nurse too, and they were talking. His girlfriend was saying that she's not used to wearing the mask, so it over her ears is really gotten really sore. Yeah, it's pretty.
That's what she wears to roll the patients over, and when they need to be rolled over,
Right.
just to put that whole garb on.
We've got some ladies at our local food line that's got like the welder's mask that are clear, and they're wearing those around there. I guess it makes
You
them feel
guys have
safe.
to wear the masks in public or no?
No,
Yeah, we don't either.
I have
They
to,
say
I won't
masks,
go out.
and I see there's a lot of people wearing masks or bandanas now, but I don't. Anyway.
I was listening to a thing on the news, and it was talking about what's going to do the mask, or the most thing it's going to do down here is take the pollen out of you're not breathing in pollen, because I would go to the store, and I'd sneeze, and people would look at me, and I'd go, "It's the pollen."
Yeah.
It's the reason my silver car is green. So
I think some people think the masks are going to protect them from the virus, but it doesn't. It's just if you're asymptomatic or cough or sneeze, hopefully it holds the germs, to you. They're not like spraying off when you're coughing
Right.
and that.
An old T-shirt is not going to do anything.
Yeah, and I'm not going to wear a band. Like some people are wearing bandanas on their face. That's just not me. I feel like I'll look like the Cheeto Bandito with that on.
yeah. Maggie said that she saw there was a reopened North Carolina protest today. Yeah, but the thing about it is that the governor's talking about tightening up on it a little bit more for to keep this downswing headed down.
It doesn't take but a few people getting in a crowd somewhere, and all of a sudden it's taken back off again.
Right.
You
My topic that
used
we're
to
going
wear
to
a
talk about.
bandana, and people thought you were going to rob them.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got to take it off when you get in the car in Florida. My sister, you have to take it off when you get in the car because it's illegal to have the mask on in the car.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, you
You're not
have to
having your photo taken for your driver's license now.
Say that one more time.
When you have your driver's license photo taken, you can't have anything like that on.
Yeah, a lot of times they make you take your glasses off because those cheap-ass cameras they've got just reflect all the light.
Glasses, hats, all that.
Valerie, I'll tell her to try to find some of the ones that ties around the back of the head. So, coping with the stay at home. Now, I'm assuming everybody's on the stay at home order in your state.
Yeah,
I've got the
I
stay-at-home
guess.
virus. Yes.
I guess safer at home. Is that different than stay at home?
Yeah. No, it's the same thing.
Although I have to go into the office tomorrow and restart my computer and pay bills and do payroll.
Oh, God.
I can't get on my computer. It's messed up and I can't get on remotely. So I have to literally go and restart it. I called my boss and asked him to restart my computer, and he said he didn't know how to restart it. And so I said, well, don't touch it then. And so what does he do? He goes to the tower. He pushes the button just for a second, I guess. And he's like, okay, it's blinking. Now what do I do? And I'm like, well, how did you used to restart your old computer? He said, I used to just push the tower. He turned it off. He pushed the tower. He never went through the start button or the shutdown button.
Yeah,
So
my dad was
just
never
leave it
aware.
alone. I'll come in the office tomorrow. I'll do payroll, and just leave my computer alone. For God.
My dad was not allowed to touch computers because he thought you could sit down and teach him how to do something in 30 minutes, and then he wouldn't touch it again for another 6 weeks, and then he was supposed to retain it, but he forgot everything he had been taught. So we just said, don't worry about it. My mom, she does email and she does Facebook and she knows how to use Explorer and whatnot. Our stay-at-home order is really a joke because it closed. Everything that's non-essential is closed. Well, the grocery stores are open because of food. The pharmacy's open because of food and pharmacy products. Walmart is open because of food and or the big Walmarts are big because of food and pharmaceuticals. The liquor stores are open. Now, mind you,
They're essential to some people.
that's essential, and that's tax money too.
And
The
pawn
one
shops
that's
are open
near
down here.
do I?
Pawn shops are open down here because they sell guns.
Yeah,
And guns for safety are essential. That's
Yeah.
what they say. So,
I don't know about pawn shops where they're around here, but thrift stores are definitely closed.
Yeah.
Because my son works for Goodwill, and they've been on paid leave now for like 3 weeks.
oh, but they're paying them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I saw a posting. I don't know if it was on Facebook or where I saw it, but talking about some stores. I don't know if it was Walmart, Target, what it was. It's one of those stores that's already open, and that they were talking about in some areas not allowing you to buy certain items, only essential type items.
Yeah, I
saw
think
that
like
too.
Michigan did it, and maybe a
Yeah.
New Jersey
Sally
state
was
out
talking
east.
about that this morning, that parts of the store are roped off.
Ours isn't like
the nursery section's roped off. And Lori said, well, if she's standing over there, she's going to reach over and get a package of seeds anyway.
That's right.
It's just to keep people from mingling and hanging around in the store, just passing time.
But today I had to go there to pick up this pharmacy thing at the Walmart pharmacy. I go in there. They're like, oh, okay, I'll be 20 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, I'll go to grocery and pick up a few things. So then I go back and it's going to be another 20 minutes. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to wander around this store for another 20 minutes. So then I went and sat in my car for 20 minutes. And then I went back in, and then they're like, it's going to be another 20 minutes. So then I'm like, well, okay, this is enough of this. I'm just going to go home and I'll come back later on. But I'm like, oh my God, it's like the guy on the announcements, don't loiter inside or outside the store. And yet I'm waiting here because you're telling me to wait around for 20 minutes at crack to get these stupid pills. So anyway.
Right.
I know the loss prevention guy at one of the Walmart, and I went in there to pick up some bread or milk or something, and I saw him. I said, "How are things going?" And he reached over and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Can I interest you in some clothing or some car tires, or maybe some electronics?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, if you walk over to the other side of the store and say hello, it's like, hello, 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 hello. He said, nobody's over there. They come in, they see they have no milk, they have no bread, they have no sugar, no rice, and out the door, they're on to their next store. But
for like here, this is great business for Walmart because you funneled everybody into Walmart. Because like where I live, like JCPenney's is closed, all the other stores that weren't essential, they had to close down. Now they can still, and I'm glad because there's stuff that, sometimes I gotta go into Walmart and buy, but if you think about it, is it really fair to the other stores that they had to close down, but you got funneling everybody into Walmart? You can go in there and buy clothes or home goods or whatever. If you think about it, it is kind of not really fair to some of the other stores. They're taking a huge economic hit, and I love Walmart, not dissing them, but they're really making out on this,
Well, these some of these stores are making some big bucks off of electronics. I mean, you can't find if you happen to go to a store, they have the Switch, not the Switch Lite, but the regular Switch, Nintendo Switch. They're like $2.99. You might want to pick one up and try selling it on eBay because it's going to be about 6 months before any more hit the country.
Oh yeah.
Going what, 400 plus? Or is it is the regular one going for 4 plus, or is it the light one that's going for 400 plus?
I don't know. I saw that the regular one is going for like, some people had them on auction and they were like $5.99.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, there was somebody asking. Oh my kid, I've seen that on social media. People are asking, like on Facebook. Oh, anybody knows where I can get a Switch? My grandson wants one. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh man, those Switches must be hard to get.
Yeah.
You can tell it's bullshit. You know, it's not.
They sold out, and I went into. Roberta is playing a game on Vanya's Switch, and I went into Sam's, and they happen to have a couple of little pull tabs for the Switch. So I pulled one out because that's supposed to mean that they've got them. Went over to customer service, and they
so that's how I knew they were valuable.
they're supposed to have two, and they couldn't find any. So they just sent the customer service manager into a tailspin because now she said, I've got to go through and I've got to inventory everything inside the cage. And then I've got to write up a report on these two missing, that's about $700 worth of Nintendos that is missing.
At Walmart?
No, that was at Sam's Club.
Oh, Sam's. Okay. Well, that's
Walmart. You just walk and look at the boxes and they're all empty. Hey, Mike.
Did you see what Liz said about their pawn shops, Tom?
No, I didn't see that.
They're not selling, but they're just doing pawns.
Oh, are they?
That's what her pawn
Yeah, I
shop
don't know about ours here. We have a gun store here, but I'm pretty sure you had they were calling it curbside pickup for ammo and stuff like that. So it was definitely limited, the amount of people that could be in the store.
Beep, beep. I need 4 boxes of 12 gauge shotgun shells and 22 hollow points.
You're supposed to already have that stuff. You don't wait till the crisis happens to buy it.
Yeah, I've got a box of Winchester 22s over here that have nothing to shoot it with. They
What
came
did
out
you
of
have under the storage unit? No.
So, like I said, I think this thing has been a big joke because if you go, I went to Walmart and picked up a loaf of bread, and then I went over and spent about 45 minutes in the clearance aisle. Nobody was over there, and so I think a lot of people all they gotta say is I'm going to the grocery store or I'm going to the parts place. Lowe's was full. I went into a grocery store today and it said maximum 189 people. I have been shopping at that food line for 10 years, and I've never seen 100 people in that damn grocery store.
Can you go into the store with other family members or no?
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't think
you can only have
really care.
Here they had that executive order from the governor and then like our local judge where you can only have one family member per household. So that means like if Jim was there with me, if he wanted to go in, we'd have to act like we're not together, definitely going separate. Because they're stopping the door if they're walking in together.
I can hear Jim over there now. Hey, baby. How about, I bet you like horses, don't you?
Yeah, okay. I've never heard Jim say the word baby in my life. He does have it tattooed on his arm, but I've never heard him actually say it.
Okay. I can't let this go by. Why does he have baby tattooed on his arm?
It's something from a song. Jim, are you in here? Well, he left. I'll have to ask him when he comes back in.
Yeah.
It's something from a song, and he was drunk in college. It's in a song. It's like he's got something tattooed on one arm and baby on the other, but it's in a song lyric. So he was gonna do that, but he's drunk in college and they're doing it with a sewing needle and like pen ink or whatever. And he goes, it was so painful. I made it through baby, but that is as far as I could go anyway.
My brother-in-law has a oh gosh, what is it? It's a Bugs Bunny on his shoulder, and it's that same kind of story. He
Oh
went to
yeah.
the beach and came home with a Bugs Bunny tattoo on his shoulder.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it sounds like his was actually done by somebody that, I mean, this was literally like a sewing needle they're jabbing in. He goes, and I'm so drunk and the blood's just running down my arm from the sewing needle.
Wow.
He goes, I just couldn't take it anymore. It was too painful.
I'm not. I
Okay, so we
will
need to think of
never-
all the songs that have the word baby in them.
No,
Baby,
I'll
baby,
ask
don't
him
get
when he
hooked
comes
on
in
me.
here. No, and it's like, it's not a title. It's something they say in the song. I'll ask him when he comes back.
I am not getting. I will not get a tattoo. I
Oh,
don't
God,
like.
I'm so needle
I
shy.
don't even like to get
Wait,
shot.
come here once,
I'm
Jim.
not getting a
Wait,
tattoo.
come here, I gotta ask you a question. Okay, what's that song that is the reason you have baby tattooed on your arm?
I've been
Oh, it's
50 years without one. What's
Gary's
another
gonna
50?
tell you if you can hear him.
It's not a very interesting story. It's Jim Croce, the Rapid Roy, the stock car boy.
Yeah.
Okay, what? And it's just
He's
the
got a
lyric.
tattoo on his arm that says baby. He's got another one just says hey.
Oh, okay. But you only made it through baby. You couldn't get to him.
No, because the other guy had hay on his chest. And I asked him, why do you have hay on your chest? He'd say, well, that's from
Oh,
Rapid
so they
Roy.
had to be together.
Well, he chickened out, though. He did it when he was a medic in Germany. They're bored, sitting, whatever. And he got the tattoo. They'd be sitting in their ambulance or whatever, waiting for one of
Giving
the...
each other tattoos.
Well, they're in the army, whatever. It's in the army. They were experimenting. So anyway, the one guy gets a tattoo.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Gets a tattoo on his chest, on his breast, and then he was supposed to get a tattoo on his arm that said "baby," but that one hurt so bad. He said, "No, I don't want the baby on my arm." And I want to tell you, when somebody gives you a tattoo with a sewing needle, with a regular it's a regular like needle, like a sewing machine needle, by hand,
Ow.
and it takes it takes way too long.
Was it painful?
Oh my god.
Were you gonna get hay too, or it was just too much after baby?
No, I was just gonna do baby because that guy already had hay. So.
Oh, I thought you were gonna get hay too. Okay.
And I woke up and I'm like, oh man, I had the craziest dream last night. And I looked at my arm and I'm like, damn it.
Harlan, you want to? Now, Harlan's Reselling Adventures. That's Scott's Harlan, right?
Yeah,
That's what, yeah.
that's a tattoo Harlan could get. I'm Scott's
You
Harlan.
wanna, Harlan, you want to come in, dude? I'll give you the.
I'm sure the picture is Harlan.
We should get a property of Scott. A property of Bearded Vicar. With that beard logo, the black and white beard logo. Oh man, that'd be beautiful.
I made up a list of questions we were going to talk about.
Okay, go ahead, Tom. Let's get
I was
serious.
trying to be, I was trying to be Beth because Beth's always got her little book out. She's looking through it. It helps her keep on course here. As far as I know, Craig and Tara are the only ones that have children. Beth, do you have school-age children?
No, I'm 58.
That don't mean nothing, honey. That don't mean
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah, my husband's 54 or 55, so it can happen.
Brandon needs a little brother.
Yeah, Tom, I'm going to be 47 in May. That stuff don't work like that anymore.
Well,
Like I say, oh, you know what? I can have a baby today. Let's make a baby, Jim. It don't work that way anymore.
Hey, practice makes perfect.
I can try, but that doesn't mean anything's going to happen.
When she called me from the doctor's office and said I'm
Oh,
pregnant,
God. Okay, Tom's trying to be serious now.
I said, my first words out of my mouth were, how did that happen?
Is this child going to be born with a halo around his head? So how with kids being out of school now, Craig, your child's a homeschooler already, but he goes to a school for some classes.
Right.
And Tara, your son is a full-time school, and now he's home. And I guess how is that affecting y'all?
Well, to us it doesn't affect us very much. I mean, our kid's pretty self-sufficient. I mean, he does his homework every day. He has like this pamphlets they've been sending. He does this work, and then he's playing Grand Theft Auto right now. I mean, he sleeps till 10 o'clock in the morning and then plays Grand Theft Auto and does his schoolwork.
So it really hasn't changed y'all's business
Yeah.
model or anything like
No,
that.
it doesn't. I mean, but he was raised with us doing this, so he was even before he went to school, it was like, okay, he's here, and our life just adapts to, like, it doesn't affect our ability to work really. So, but I mean, we've been doing it since he was a baby, so it never really affected us, you know.
Well, Jim was old when he was born. When he was what, 40?
I was 34, and Jim's 8 years older than me, so Jim was 42.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, this is a kid that was raised doing this, because like before we did eBay, we used to set up at the flea market, and we'd have to like go to my mother passed away. His family's all in Florida. We didn't have any like family babysitters or that. I mean, this is gonna make us sound like carnival folks, but we'd go to the flea market and set up. We had this big box truck, and we'd set up a cot, and he'd take a nap in his cot. Or I mean, the kid was just raised selling junk. Honestly.
Well, he's been around. He's been around adults
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been really raised selling junk. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we just trained it so into him that he's just like, all right, whatever, I can do my own thing.
And before I ask Craig, there's been 2 memes that I really like, because you know, if you're a Facebook friend, you know I like memes. One of them was, son, dad, the lunch lady was cussing today. Dad, son, give your mother a break. She's had a hard day. And the other one was, how is
Hey, Scott.
homeschooling going? Well, we had 3 children suspended today, and 1 got fired for drinking on the job.
There's been some good ones out there.
There's a lot of people that I know that have been having to homeschool, and they're like, no, there was a reason that I did not become a doctor. I mean, a doctor.
I'm not a
did not become a teacher. I don't know why I said doctor. I didn't become a teacher because
well, my son's pretty good at math, and Jim's better at this than me. But I mean, like right now they're working on fractional math. Yes, I can do it, but they want you to do it a certain way. But I mean, it's been so long since I've done that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, now wait a minute. Anyway, so.
Well, when Vanya was doing algebra 2,
I sucked at algebra.
he was saying, how do you do this? I don't understand. And I had to I took a picture of it, sent it to my friend that's a math and science teacher, and said, work this out for me and send it back to me. And in just a few minutes, he sent me back via email. He sent me back how to work it out, and he's like, that's not hard. I said, dude, it's been 40 years since I've been in school. Even when I worked for the land surveying company, we used computers that did all of that. We didn't ever use geometry unless we were in the field.
Yeah.
So how about you, Craig? How's this affected your business?
Well, it's I always say that I'm doing the Uber family, taking people back and forth. That's with my son not having to go physically to school, it's helped a lot with not I would drop him off at school at 8:15, pick him up at 10, take him back at 12. Not that I'm complaining, but it's just a lot of back and forth, and it's eliminated a lot of that, which has helped. He's only taken a handful of classes, and they meet for an hour, and it's just get online via Zoom and sit there for an hour, and then it's just business as normal for him.
Right.
So, it's
just so people in the audience knows, Beth is not muted because she's doing something she don't want us to know about. It's because she beats on her keyboard like she is trying to make it scream. It's like,
okay, I was messaging Adam Davidisms, and so I had to type, and you call it angry typing.
yes,
So I've been
it's like
really good.
she
I've been
is mad at
barely
work.
touching the keys.
Yeah, if y'all
But I
haven't
just
seen
I just sent those Davidisms your way, Adam. Hey, Leticia, how you doing?
yeah, if y'all haven't seen it yet, I know Adam is having David. Who was it, Thrift Daddy? Isn't that his channel? They're gonna be on
Thrifty
tomorrow.
Dad, and he wanted me to send some Davidisms that way. So
That'll be a good show. Everybody, be sure to check that one out.
I'll be right back.
It's is it 2:00 tomorrow? I always get it confused. Of course, the dog starts barking. Oh, so how's the park business going, Beth?
it was going great until yesterday, and my sales have slowed since yesterday. So
Really?
I mean, I'm not worried about it. They were great during the weekend, and just gonna hang out and hopefully they pick back up. I think a lot of people are schooling at home during the day and they're not shopping on weekdays, at least for what I'm selling.
I was telling Tom before we got on, I've done better with clothing the last 4 or 5 days than I have anything.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm out there listing a bunch of clothing. It's not, the average Ralph Lauren polo and stuff like that. So.
Well, I've run out of appliances to part out, so it's stressful to me. Because every time I get a sale, I'm like, yay. And then I'm like, but now I have one less part to sell.
Right. But at least running out is a good thing. That means you've got it all listed.
Yeah, I know.
That's it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You're selling something, you're wanting to go buy another, take that money and reinvest it, and you don't have that ability right now. So it's a challenge. But almost it's that infected fear of missing out, or I know that's tough.
3 p.m. Eastern time for Thrifty Dad.
Okay.
2 p.m. Central.
Yeah, that'd be easy. I miss David's his shows. He used to do some fun hangouts.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun.
I miss David a lot. And his wife, Vicky, is pulling like 16-hour shifts at the nursing home. And it's just tough. It's really rough.
Todd, I just saw your message. Tom just stepped out. Nobody but Tom has the ability to let you in. And if anybody hadn't seen Todd Silverhead Stacker's video,
Todd, we're just totally ignoring you.
Yep.
Oh,
Todd put out a video recently about a big video game store he had. That was a big.
Oh.
The video game stacker. Yep, for sure.
I am selling more books on Amazon than I usually do. I guess because people are reading more.
Really? Are you doing fulfilled by merchant, or the ones you already had up in FBA?
The one I already had in FBA. Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
So my uncle had a lot of poker books because he was a blackjack dealer, and he had a lot of spiritual and meditation kind of books, and those are the ones that are selling right now. I guess people are meditating and playing poker. Amazon still isn't. They're not shipping them, Maggie. They don't consider those essential.
I saw an article on CNBC where now supposedly Amazon is going to limit, and I don't know anything about Amazon, but limit grocery sellers on the site or something. I don't know if they're taking less coming in, because I thought that was like an easy category to be ungated in.
Hey, Todd.
Am I here?
Haven't seen your hairy arm in person in a long time.
Where am I?
I had to.
Oh, there I am.
I had to run go get. Roberta had to fill her medicine bottles up this week, her daily thing of meds, and
you were just ignoring me.
No, I didn't. I had to go take care of that.
I guess
Roberta's been ordering all kinds of crap off Amazon, and it's been coming in.
So today sucks.
I agree.
I've only sold $350 worth of crap today. That's down.
Is that of your gaming crap?
A bunch of it is.
I told you that stuff would move if you listed it.
Oh man.
My
This
next
has been
question
listening.
was, how
Oh.
has your sourcing been?
One
How
thing
have you
today.
been sourcing? And of course, Cray of Todd has just really knocked that one out of the park with his storage room full of Nintendos and SNES and Xboxes and
Somebody
all
over
that
there,
kind of
somebody
stuff.
else over there types loudly. I don't feel so bad.
Yeah, I type
I'm gonna
loud
keep
too.
myself unmuted.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it is
That's
people that
okay. You
resell,
can-
so I figure they'll get over it. It's part of the thing.
So it's been 8 days since I made the big video game buy, and it's already paid for with sales.
Mike
And I've got
says,
so much left to list. Yes,
Oh,
I do suck.
Mike says, you suck, Todd. But see,
Are you
he,
finding that you're having to
go ahead.
What?
Are you finding that you're having to comp a bunch of stuff, Todd? Or are you
Oh, I comp
finding that
everything.
you're
I
having to
don't
comp a
know.
bunch of games?
I don't know
That's
a whole
good.
lot about video games, but yeah,
It looks
been
like
making
you're
like
getting them processed relatively quick, though.
no. Well, I mean, for me, it's going quick. For other resellers, I'm probably moving at a snail's pace. I did 13 listings today, and I'm like, I'm tired.
Your
But
girlfriend Bridget is probably rolling, just shaking her head like, oh man, you got to get on the stick.
I know. So, if you can imagine, I bought the stuff for $1,000, and I have been through 2 boxes and already made my money back. And there's like 40, 50 boxes. So I'm just really getting started. So I expect this deal will go 5 to 10 grand by the time I'm done, which may be around Christmas time.
See, Craig, he's doing the easy stuff now. He's just doing the cartridges.
Yeah.
Then he's got to get all the game systems out. He's got to find the right power cords for each game system, and then he's got, then
Oh,
he's got
yeah.
to test them if they work. So
And
that's
all
going
the
to really slow him down.
Yeah, all the cords are just in twisted piles of. It looks like an octopus nest. It's just there's cords. I don't. Some people can recognize. Oh, this cord goes with a Nintendo 64, and oh, this cord goes with a PlayStation 2. Oh, this cord goes with. I know none of that.
So I assume. So based on all that, I assume that you're not testing the game.
You know what? I'm cleaning the games,
Right.
but I'm not really testing them.
Yeah.
Because they were in a video store and they had price tags on them. So I figured they were working at the time they were selling them.
That's a good point.
So I just,
What's up,
took
Black
out
City?
the old Q-tips and alcohol and cleaned all the, what do you call them, contacts. And
Yep.
cleaned off the external parts, and here you go.
Just make sure you save a game off each system you need to test when you test the console.
Right. Oh,
Good evening, Glass City Pickers.
I've got plenty of everything.
No,
That's what it looked like when I saw the video.
Where did you find that lot, Todd?
You know what? You want the
Craigslist?
long story?
No.
Okay. Well, the medium short story goes like this. My wife has a sister, and her sister has a daughter, and her daughter worked at a video store and bought the video store for $10,000. And then she couldn't make her rent in a brick and mortar place. So all the stuff got moved to a storage unit. And so my niece then got pregnant, and now she needed to sell everything in the storage unit because she couldn't afford the storage unit rent anymore. And so they said, I'll take $1,000 for everything. I went up there and looked at it. I said, yeah, I can do that deal. So I paid $1,000 cash to my niece. And so I've got maybe $5,000 to $10,000 worth of video game stuff to sell.
Wow.
So it was kind of a family-ish buyout thing.
Mhm.
But
But
I mean,
it's also a great time for that to have happened too.
oh man, right in the middle of the Corona thing.
You know,
Yeah, the storage unit was like 55 miles from my house. So of course, being an old man, when I roll up on the storage unit, I gotta go pee. And where do you go pee? What, do you pee in the storage unit? Nah, probably not. So there's a gas station next door, and of course all the COVID protections in there. I don't know if the restroom in the gas station's even going to be open. So I roll in there needing to pee, and thank God their restrooms were open. Else I would have had to pee in that storage unit, which I can carry
I
an
was waiting on
empty.
you to say one time at band camp.
Yeah. I'm not all that bashful. I don't mind going in the back of a storage unit and peeing in an old water bottle or something, but I was able to use the gas station next door. Anyway, it took me 3 trips. We got everything. We made 1 trip in a RAV4 little SUV car, and then 2 trips in my Ford F-250 packed to the gills with all that stuff. So, and now it's stacked around the house like you can't believe. My wife is going to kill me because I took up every square inch of inches in the house to put all that stuff because I'm too cheap to rent a storage unit.
As much
If you get it
big
listed,
stuff
it won't be there
yeah.
long.
Yeah.
I'm
As
sorry, I
much
didn't
stuff,
interrupt you.
big stuff as he gets, and the auctions that he buys from, he needs to get him like about a 12 by 20 outbuilding for his backyard. Oh, I'm sorry, they don't allow such white trash stuff in his neighborhood.
Actually, I live in a fairly rural town, so they probably wouldn't mind a nice looking storage shed in the backyard, but I'm too cheap to build one of those things, Tom. I'm a poor old Texan.
So have y'all been able to do any sourcing, or are you just surviving off of your, what do they call it, death piles?
I mean, that's been my only buy for 6
I've
weeks.
got plenty here that I need to be listening.
And that's going to keep you busy for a while, Todd.
Yeah. But
and if Bridget, like I said, if Bridget was listening, she would be all in your grill about a money pile. Yeah. Be all in your grill about you only getting 13 things listed today. That would be burning a hole in her pocket.
I know.
But she's young.
I don't have much inventory left to pull from.
Really?
So
Or here, when it first started, I quick went over to ThreadUp and ordered a men's box, but I'm almost done listing that. A few more things, but I shouldn't say that. We still have our family jewelry collection that I can pull from if I need something.
Do they have any small appliances at on Shop Goodwill?
I've gone on there and I just don't like the stuff that's on there right now. I don't know
I've never
why.
looked at that now.
their stuff is expensive,
a lot more than I would ever pay for normally.
and their shipping and handling is high.
I did hear somebody say that recently.
I mean,
So, has anybody done bulk.com?
I'm thinking about what's that called? Ninjas? The Ninja one?
Okay.
Thinking about going to that Ninja one if I get really desperate, and maybe getting some makeup or something like that, something different. But I do have a lot of Indian Native American jewelry that I could list.
Todd, did you say bulk?
BULQ.
ULQ.
Yeah, Bridget talked me into buying a box of personal care products off of there about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, and it was good stuff. But I expect their supplies are getting thin because people aren't able to source now. I would expect bulk.com to probably increase their prices or have less stock available than they usually do. I just think that would be the case.
I know one thing. I stopped at a pallet place down in Rock Hill, which is 30 minutes away from here, and just stopped in there and was looking at some of the pallets, and that guy has messaged me every day this week saying, "Hey man, you want to come down here and get something? I'll be glad to help you break it down and get back of your SUV." So he must be trying to get rid of some of it.
They've got plenty of stock.
He's got a building full.
I'm surprised they're open.
They're not open. By appointment only.
I do have a local auctioneer, not real local, about 35 miles away, that would open his warehouse. He's got like 30,000 square feet of storage, and it is packed. And he would let me come in there and dig, but I haven't needed to yet.
Yeah, that's how I am.
Yeah. So
Todd, do you have big old bull horns on the hood of your truck?
No, I got a big old.
Go ahead.
Big old fender guards, but no, I haven't got the bull horns out there like Viva Las Vegas bull, longhorn horns on the front of my truck. No.
Because your buddy Mike says you ain't poor, you just squeak when you walk. You're so tight.
I'm pretty tight, Mike. Yeah, I gotta agree with that assessment.
Oh, Miss Gwen helps you spend it though.
Yeah, she. You know what? COVID is kind of saving me money because Gwen has a 25-mile commute to her teaching job, and she hasn't been teaching, so we haven't spent that gas money, and then we usually go to the movies about once a week, and then eat out a couple of times a week, and that's done, except for takeout. So I'm probably saving money right now.
I'm probably saving money on sourcing because normally I would be sourcing right now, even though I really don't need to.
Yeah.
So I'm just holding on to my money in case sales go down.
You know what? I've heard so many channels talking about when the restrictions are lifted, there are going to be so much inventory to buy from, and you better be saving your nickels now because all this new stuff is going to come available, and it's going to be tons, tons. Because people haven't been able to do their garage sales, people haven't been able to do estate sales, people haven't been able to do rummage sales. And so when this thing finally ends and everything gets lifted, you need a pocket full of cash to just go buy.
There's some people down the road from us that had a yard sale this past weekend.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're not allowed to do that in Kentucky. Have a yard sale.
They probably were not allowed to do that either because they probably weren't able to get a yard sale permit if they even tried to get one. Now, see, that's my whole thing about what I said at the beginning. This whole stay-at-home thing is just being manipulated so that because we do not have a you can only go someplace if it's essential kind of thing going on. You know, you can get out and go for a ride if you want to. The only thing is you just can't have groups of more than 8 people. Some people we know, their daughter got married this past weekend. There was the pastor, the couple, both sets of parents, the bridesmaid, the maid of honor, and the best man, and they were televising it, or they did it through YouTube, so people could see it because they had already spent all this money. The food they had a catering for 1,000 people. And so they ended up taking what they wanted, and the rest of it they sent to homeless shelters and whatnot. They probably had about 10 grand in that wedding, and that's cheap.
Wow.
Because she made her own dress. This girl's an excellent seamstress. And, one of the British royalty should have worn that dress. But you can't, 8 is the maximum we can have in the group. Don't start. So it's, it's not like I said, I can go to Walmart and pick up a loaf of bread and then spend 45 minutes in the clearance aisle. Nobody says anything. But 10 people standing together out in the parking lot as a group, the popo comes by, he might give you a ticket.
Crazy, aren't they?
Have you had any crazy requests from any of your buyers about, the COVID related, is this coming from a clean warehouse or whatever? Any of that kind of stuff? Has it just been?
No.
Get it to me.
Just the typical stupid buyers.
Yeah,
No, I do have one person that wants to return a blouse and says she can't get to the post office. And she's in California and she's restricted. And I just told her I would waive the 30-day return policy, and just whenever she can return it, she can. Because I want it back. And so.
Right.
Because I still think she's kind of trying to scam me because she was kind of real shady at the beginning about the return. Kept making up excuses and wanted a partial refund, and I don't do partial refunds, and so.
Mike says, I'm seeing land prices dropping already, car prices too. My son Nicholas, he's just about ready to buy him a car. And I told him, I said, based on the amount of cash you got, you walk into, give it about another 2 weeks, you walk in there with and say, I've got this much cash to spend on this car. They're going to be dealing with you.
Yeah, our dealerships are closed here. They're not even open.
Yeah.
We can buy online.
Oh, you can buy it online. Yeah. But I mean, how is that helping sales? How many people just buy one online and say, okay, I'll curbside pick it up? I don't know.
Hi, Margie. Good to see you.
So Maggie this morning said she got her check from the government or deposit from the government. What is it?
We got ours.
Y'all got yours?
Uh-huh.
Haven't got mine yet.
No, we haven't gotten ours.
But
Tom's
like they were saying, you
probably
want to blow
won't
through
get
that 1,200. Go ahead, Todd.
I'm just saying, Tom, you're probably too rich. You won't get 1,200. What's the maximum income before you don't get it?
99,000. So I think a married couple. Or wait, is it you don't get it over 99? But is it like
your spouse thing is 150 or something?
Over 150 with your spouse?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should get one.
Yeah, we definitely should have got. Well, I'm hoping by tomorrow.
I need to go blow that money. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I want to go buy a trailer with it. The government's going to buy me a trailer.
$2,500 will not buy you a damn trailer.
I think you're wrong on that. You are completely wrong on that, Tom.
They're in Kentucky.
Are you talking about like a flat?
I'm talking about a flatbed gooseneck trailer that can haul a car. I can buy them used. They're like in the 1,800.
Especially right now.
Well,
go on Facebook.
I was thinking of a horse trailer is what I was thinking of.
No, I'm talking about just a flatbed gooseneck.
Who's getting 2,500, Tom?
Yeah.
What did Jim say?
He said new. The size we're looking at, they're only about like 7,000 brand new. They're cheap.
But like I said, I thought you were talking about a horse trailer.
I already got one of those yet.
Oh, I knew you did, but I didn't know whether you wanted a bigger one.
Well, not right now. I would like to get one with the camper in the front with the living quarters in it, but I'm not doing that right now.
Are you going to start showing again?
I would like to, yes. But there's nothing going on because of COVID's got everything shut down.
Yeah. Has anybody had any shipping issues?
No.
I got a few packages that have gotten a little delayed because for whatever reason, probably COVID related. But I haven't had any customers complain. They just get their stuff eventually, and then their customers seem to be understanding.
I hope so. I asked my mail carrier because I was needed to if I put my flag up and I have a little piece of cloth to it tied to it that's red, she knows that I've got some packages, and so she'll toot her horn when she's at the neighbor's house. So anyway, I brought it out there to her, and I brought her a bottle of water and a Diet Coke because she likes Diet Cokes. And I said, are they going to change y'all's delivery schedule? She said, hell no. She said, we will be the last people that stop. I said, really? She said, yeah. She said, we had a staff meeting, and she said that they said, don't worry about you getting, what's it, furloughed? That's not going to happen. And so she said some of the smaller post offices, they're going to like Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday their storefront or whatever you want to call it is going to be open. But she said there's not going to be half. Yeah, Maggie, she's talking about the resort area. People are prohibited from renting out their properties. Hotels and motels are closed. My nephew lives at Myrtle Beach, and they're not letting people in. They're turning people away because they don't want them down there. They don't want them on the beaches. The beaches are closed. Somebody up the way said it's going to take a while for all of this to get, the fact that people don't have they're being laid off. Their unemployment's not going to be very much.
Yeah, but they're doing good on unemployment with the stimulus. I mean, aren't they supposed to be getting like 600 over what they would have gotten in unemployment?
Yeah, I read something like that.
Yeah. I mean, who is really hurting is like the people that don't qualify for unemployment, like the independent contractor. You know what I mean? It's people like that are self-employed that don't qualify for the unemployment. It's going to hurt them.
Or those that are in that upper income bracket, but then they don't have to worry about it anyway.
Well, I mean, they probably can weather it out longer, but
Good point.
I don't know. Does anybody ever not want to make money? I mean, hey, sometimes with rich people, they have bigger investments. So it's like, oh, wow, so-and-so is really rich, but they also, it takes a lot more money for them to maintain the stuff they have or the businesses they have or stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, you don't wake up one morning and somebody's hands you a check and says, "Hey, you're rich." You gotta build that, and there's a lot of money. There's partnerships and mortgages and loans and lines of credit. That you got to answer to all those people. They ain't gonna give you. That's like when they're talking about people giving rent holidays. I hope the bank's gonna give their landlord the mortgage holiday.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to do about the bank when they don't have capital to give out loans anymore?
Yeah.
Because they're giving everybody mortgage holidays.
Or like,
It's a change.
I was just saying to Jim the other day, like, let's say, and I hope, God forbid, it doesn't drag out that far, but let's say it drug out past 6 months or whatever, and now you have people starting to tap into their like IRAs or money markets or any of that stuff. That's going to affect the stock market. That's going to affect lending.
People are already taking cash out of the
It's
bank.
probably already happening.
Yeah.
This is a horrible ripple effect. This cannot go on like for
Think
6
about the
months or
suicide
whatever.
rate. The suicide rate's going to go up too.
Yeah. I mean, so even the rich person that can weather it out, but they start going and taking money out of investments they had or whatever, then that hurts, like, watch your stock market and stuff like that. That will really impact it. Banks' lendability when people are taking their capital out of the bank and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, because you know what? Right now, like I think it was Mike had said a while ago, prices of land and cars are coming down. If you want to get into real estate and you got some cash, it's coming on at you.
Yeah.
Well, and that's cash is key. Because the word on the street about real estate is banks ain't giving loans.
Yeah, if you can go get an FHA loan. I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, banks aren't giving loans right now. Jim's family has a house that was sold in Florida. It got backed out. They had another offer. And my mother-in-law's like, well, I don't really want to deal with an FHA person. They take a long time. Will the house make an FHA approval and stuff like that? And he goes, oh, don't worry. I got real good credit. I'll just go get a conventional mortgage. No, the bank's like, no, you're not. You got to go to FHA. So they're just going to push you. And I saw this in 16 when I had sold a different house I owned, where it doesn't matter how good your credit are. They're just going to push you over to that government lending.
Because you have people right now are pulling their money out of banks, and banks have to have a certain percentage of liquid capital. And I think that's what's happening is their liquid capital is shrinking.
Yeah.
So they're hesitant to give out loans.
Didn't Trump ease some of that restrictions for those capital restrictions?
Apparently not enough.
Not enough. Oh.
Well, if you're a bank, do you think banks take chances?
No. Yeah.
So
Which
Todd,
is
if
good,
you go ahead and start digging up all them barrels of money you got in your backyard, because you'll be able to pick up 2,000 or 3,000 acres of Texas farmland in no time.
Yeah. I should do that. You know what? I've never seen the silver and gold market like this. The spot price for silver and gold isn't all that high, but there's an extreme disconnect from if you want to buy like a silver coin, it's like $25 an ounce now. But
No.
the spot price for silver is like $15.50 an ounce, which is the paper market for silver. I've
Yeah.
never, ever seen this type of disconnect. And there is absolutely none physical silver available to even buy. You go to the major online silver and gold bullion dealers and they're sold out.
Yeah, I had an online auction go up here, and they probably had 30 lots of peace dollars with some Morgan dollars, and I want to say they were selling in that 37 to 42 range. And I'm not talking like, rare mint marks or anything. I'm talking about circulated, run-of-the-mill silver dollars.
Yeah, the markets are just for physical. If you got physical silver to sell now, if you bought it cheap, you're in a good position.
Mm.
If you're trying to buy silver and gold now, you're in a bad position. At least the physical.
It's you're right, Maggie. I think well, first of all, the media scared the hell out of everybody. And so the government, all the politicians felt like they had to jump on board and start locking things down, or it was going to come back to bite them on the butt. I mean, because our governor's a Democrat, the South Carolina's a Republican. They both did the same thing. And we're based on Ohio, and Ohio's based on Michigan, and it was like it started up north and started heading south.
Oh yeah, because I know Trump wants to try to reopen this, kind of start the process of reopening it in May, but you got other people that are bucking it. They're like, we don't even know if we'll be reopened for the election in November. I mean, if this drags out to November, I mean, that's not going to be good. I can tell you right now, I am glad I don't have a mortgage payment. I can say that.
If this drags out to the summertime, our country's finances are going to be in a major screw.
Yeah.
I'm really
glad I read an article today that there's a record number of unpaid mortgages for the month of March.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, and like here you had they don't want you to evict people for being behind on rent. But then I'm like, well, what about these poor people that own rental units? I mean, my husband and his family, that's what they used to do. They had mortgage payments on those rental units. I mean, so if you're not getting the rent in, how do you expect? It's all a chain reaction. You're not going to be able to pay the mortgage. Think the bank's going to be like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Oh yeah, okay, well, take 6 months or whatever to pay us. They don't do that shit.
And that just means
that link, Scott, come in here
at once.
It's just going to be, and it's not just one side or the other. All the states are just going to be totally messed up. I feel so special tonight.
Hey, if Tom tells you to do something, you immediately do it, right?
Oh no, it's Scott. Hey Jim, Scott's on here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I was watching this thing on YouTube, Matt.
If we don't restart this economy, not only the restaurant industry is hardly ever going to recover. I mean, restaurants, there's no money in restaurants to begin with. I mean, there is some, but if you look at the just start reading about the cattle industry and what's happening with dumping milk with cattle, with all the vegetables that are getting wasted because they were all made for the restaurant. None of the stuff is being sold. We are heading into a huge meat shortage if this stuff does not turn around. It's scary if you start reading, get away from the media, the regular media, and just the people who are reporting on the heartland and what's really going on in this country. It's scary what's going to happen if we don't get this economy started.
Well, I heard, like, I was listening to somebody on the restaurant industry was saying that, okay, you got this SBA, like these PPP loans, but they want you to pretty much pass it through to payroll. And they're like, hey, these restaurants are going to need some startup capital to be able to restock their, food and stuff so they can prepare food to make and that. Anyway.
Scott was in the fast food industry. He probably knows what I'm talking about. There's like 3 fast food joints on 51 alone that have closed up.
And Todd closed up too. Tom closed up too. Hey Todd, that's an impressive video score you had, man. I watched the video. I'm like, holy cow!
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's an amazing score. That's not one you come across every day. That is a kudos, man. Very good job. I mean, and it just goes to show you don't have to know about every little thing. You can teach yourself video game. The timing on it's incredible because video games are selling out of this world right now.
Oh man, I've already made my money back.
Yeah, no, I was listening. I had to put y'all on mute for a minute. I was recording a video, but then I came back.
In 1 week, I already made my money back, and I've got so much. 2 F-250 pickup truck fulls plus the wife's RAV4. So in three trips to that storage unit. And my wife is she's so up in the air with me right now. I can't get through this house because you got stuff stacked everywhere. And I'm like,
well, Beth will come over and buy some of it from you. She's nearby.
Yeah, I'll come over.
Oh man!
Put it out at the curb. Do your social distancing.
Just hire you a teenager to list it all.
But what I was going to say before I got disconnected, a real estate friend of mine was saying that there's 3 of these restaurants that have closed up that are not reopening because the franchisors have been fighting employees, trying to keep employees. They're competing with, there's like 3 McDonald's on this one road, and they're all either corporate or 2 different franchises because one's in one little town and one's in another little town. And they're not going to be opening back up. And he works for handles commercial rentals, and he's said that they've called him, the actual property owner, says we need to get this thing rented as fast as possible. And he said you better have some money on your hands because you're going to be sitting on that thing for a while. It's just going to be cascade failure. One thing starts slowing down or stops, people are going to be without jobs. People are not going to be spending.
No, that first week and a half, our fast food restaurants and drive-thrus are busy, but now they're not. I would say the Lee's Chicken is still doing all right, but other than that, like the Burger King and that, and McDonald's, I mean, it's very quiet. Their drive-thrus are.
StreamYards right now is only allow 6 people in a time.
Yeah, go away. Go away, Jacob.
You need to, Scott, you got to get by the beauty parlor and get your beard touched up, son. Them grays are starting to
I can't because if I get the gray touched up, then I don't look like my Funko self.
Okay.
Problem is, once you start, you can't stop.
Funko.
Yeah, I've been on YouTube now. I think I've been on YouTube for like 6.5 hours today. It seems like all day. I had an interesting talk today, this afternoon, with a lawyer who specializes in dealing with Amazon and tax and well, for 2 hours.
That lawyer interview was incredible. I appreciate that. I learned so much stuff. I'm like, man, I'm behind the 8 ball. I don't know half of what he was saying, but it all sounded like something we all need to pay attention to.
Yeah, he's crazy smart, and I think he's 100% right that he has an organization called the Online Merchants Guild, and there has to be some way these platforms just run over an individual seller. You know, they pass blame on us, and we have no way of representing ourselves. You know, we're not large enough. You know, what does Amazon do? Amazon passes the buck and go, oh, we don't have no control. It's the third-party sellers, and then they
did that up here in Kentucky. It was on our local news how Amazon was working and like helping to the 10 third-party sellers in Kentucky of price gouging. I'm like, God, Amazon's really throwing the seller under the bus.
Yeah, they sent a list to, I don't know how many states have requested it, but all the seller information about what they've sold and mask and sanitizer.
No.
Oh.
And how many of those listings was Amazon probably on too? I mean, I don't sell on Amazon, but
they were on a lot of them, and they were actually, their repricer went way up with everybody else. I mean, it's not like Amazon's innocent in this, but they have gone, you know, we create so many jobs. Look, we're going to give you this information. You know, they kind of turn a blind eye to anything Amazon does.
Yeah. No, it's gonna, honestly, even this is gonna it's gonna do some stuff, or it's gonna, you know, change some regulations or stuff with the online selling industry or whatever. I mean, it's kind of sad. You're gonna have a lot of implications because of this.
Hey, did Scott get his government check?
Scott, did you get your government check? Dex wants to know.
Not yet. I don't.
Not yet.
I gotta look at my taxes and see if I'm being eligible. I can't remember what I made last year.
That made $1 million last year. He ain't going to get squat.
No, last year was the first year I had an accountant to do my taxes, so I just kind of signed, and I didn't know anything. I don't think maybe.
Well, I think as a married couple, you can make up to $150,000.
Yeah, that's net. If you
That's
did
net.
If you did $150,000 net, you know you did it because you're driving a damn nice car.
So you're saying the minivan's not nice? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you'll be driving a conversion van when you make over 150 grand.
If it's 24 karat gold plate, that's nice.
Throwing $100 bills out the window while you're driving by.
One of those money shooters.
Making it rain. Make it rain.
Yeah.
Up in here.
The money gun, you know, you just start spraying the crowd with money.
Yeah.
You know, you never see Scott's garage door open. That's because that's where his Escalade's sitting at. That's what he drives to go thrifting.
You got to realize last year started out awful with Johnny fighting breast cancer, so I didn't sell a lot. The first 6 months, I really didn't sell much. So I mean, I sold some, but not like I'm selling this year. So I know there's no way we didn't reach the limit. So
how's she doing now, Scott?
Cancer's gone. But she has whatever it is, where your blood pressure sometimes is high, sometimes is low, hyperstatic blood pressure, and that's been this week's struggle. I'm sitting out here after the morning show. I'm about to go get breakfast, and I get a text. Can you come help me? I stood up and fell down because her blood pressure crashed. And
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Dex said you can make up to 198 for a couple. He told me it's over 150.
Yeah, that's your net.
Yeah.
So you should get down to the Lexus dealer today if you're pulling that in. Scott, what are you doing talking to us?
Oh,
You
Todd
Todd
can too, but
yeah, y'all notice
Jim, you know Todd can drive down there and just reach down into his pants pocket and pull out a wad of $100 and pay for that Lexus, you know? Just like Todd can.
Yeah.
It was so funny when I met Todd in person. I was like, your body doesn't match your voice.
I did like the picture on Facebook with your brother. What was it? I got the looks, he got the money.
Yeah. Oh my God. You saw that? That was my brother saying that. He's pretty correct. I mean, look at the picture. So I mean, I didn't get the money, but yeah, he got the looks and the money. Don't let him kid you.
Yeah, the first person always throws that out there is usually the one that's got the money too.
Yeah. He did okay. He had all those tax breaks by being a Baptist minister. So you
Praise the
can't
Lord.
believe the tax breaks that Baptist ministers can get. So there you go. I'll leave it there in the Lord's hands.
So Scott, how you coping with not being able to send in stuff to Amazon?
That's what the video I just did. I've switched the model to fulfilled by merchant. I was already investing in shipping supplies, shipping. You know, I got the electric tape machine. I've got a bubble air pillow maker, and so I just set up everything to do fulfilled by merchant. Like today, I had 48. I took to the post office today. Yesterday from the weekend, I had 200 packages go out. So you know, it's a viable model. You know, resellers have, as long as you have some inventory, you really have no excuse. I mean, people are still buying stuff. You know, it's like it's always been. If you put the effort in, you'll be rewarded. How do you increase your eBay sales? Freaking start listing.
Yeah.
It's simple. You know, people want to know, how do you sell stuff on eBay? Hell, you list it.
Oh, I got so much stuff now.
Todd, I'm serious. I'll come take it off your hands.
Oh man,
It sounds
You
like
just
he's
sell some of it in lots.
I don't know if I want to become a wholesaler. I mean, I'm old, but
Yeah,
I've
get
got-
Miss Stacker in here.
I should connect you to Gwen's line.
Gwen would like to see this out the house, but
Yeah. Let me have Gwen's cell number, please. And
Well-
I'll talk her into it.
She's probably going to ask Todd to make a road trip and call you.
That's
Yeah,
right.
well,
Come on
That
over.
F-250 might be making another trip.
take some of this crap down to Beth's house, and I'll be a better wife for you. Yeah, yeah.
See, Maggie.
Well, I think worst comes to worst, Todd. If you get tired of it, you can always
You're right, Maggie.
once stuff starts opening back up a little bit, you know, that's flea market gold right there.
Even just jump on somebody's YouTube auction. You'd move that stuff quick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I should get Dwayne to do me an auction. Here's 2 tons of video games. Who wants to give me $1 for it? Yeah.
You're just going to have to show up and knock on his front door and say, with your truck, and say, I came to get me some stuff to sell.
Yeah, but I'm one of the few, not a few, but you know, I don't have a death pile. I got a death garage, so you know, I don't have any issue with sales. My issue is been packing the fulfilled. Amazon fulfilled by merchant has been amazing. Never dreamed, you know. I guess it's the storm of not being able to send it in. But I never dreamed it would sell this much.
Yeah, but probably it helps with Amazon. Don't they have like really pushed out delivery dates? So if your merchant fulfilled, would get delivered before their prime.
You're right. They've been giving the buy box even more than I've ever seen to fulfill by merchant. You know, I'll be a price higher than the lowest FBA, and because mine's available, you know, they're leaning towards the fulfilled by merchant some down at the bottom of the list. You know, so your fees are less, so you can compete with price much better. I ship better than Amazon because I use more than one air pillow. You know what I mean? I take care because I want to make sure it gets there. I have a vested interest in the product getting there. There's lots of advantages, but it is work though. It's a lot of labor.
Are you having trouble keeping up with the shipping?
No, I just did like I did today. I'm like, man, I am tired. I'm not listing anything today. I think I've got like 19 tomorrow.
Is your boy still at school, or is he at home?
No, he's at home, but they're doing online school, so he's still got a couple of projects left to finish up. So,
right,
he's a senior. He graduates next month.
Hallelujah.
He's been on academic scholarship this whole time, so it doesn't matter to us one way to, you know, he's the only child. Mama likes having him here. that my business was going to have to change anyway because once he gets a real job, if he happens to move away, I've been very fortunate that I travel every other week somewhere but I'm not leaving Joni at home. Jacob's always here. She's got a college age son here. Anything she needs, he takes care of. I won't be leaving for a week and her by herself because just can't do that.
Mhm.
So I was gonna have to figure out some things different. So FBM's definitely gonna be a part of that plan here moving forward.
Are you doing merchant fulfilled prime, or are you just doing standard delivery?
I'm just doing standard. I don't want the pressure of having to have it out by 2:00. The 1 to 2 day. And sometimes you need that second day.
Oh, definitely.
Most time I don't use it, but it's it takes some of the pressure off. That's why I have 2 days on eBay as well, just because.
So far, Mr. Sadie.
If we're getting 30 or 40 orders a day or better.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you this how many orders I've shipped just to give you a in the last 90 days. In the last 30 days, I've shipped 1,048. In the last 90, I have shipped 3,077 orders.
Wow.
Nice.
So I'm shipping 1,000 a month.
Yeah, it took me 2 hours today to pack 16 orders. So
This ain't worthless.
feel your pain.
When you're, the one thing about Amazon is it's repeating the same items. So if I sell 10 of an item, I've got 10 of that box. It's much easier. The eBay shipping takes me way longer because there's not always in a box. A lot of times it's a used item, and you got to figure it takes more care to wrap it up and make sure it gets there. So, but it's when you're just doing items that are in boxes or in new items. I've sold a bunch of Hot Wheels cars lately. It's just a small box. I have a box that I've been shipping that's 6x4x2. That little thing is that big, and a label fits on it and covers the whole top of the box. But you do what you got to do in this business, and once people got to learn that. I mean, did I ever think that I'd ship this much? Absolutely not. But I don't want handouts from the government. I don't want to fail. I got mortgages to make, so hey, we get at it.
So what do y'all think? Are we nearing the peak of the COVID thing?
Are we supposed to be on the plateau or something?
I don't know that we're
Well, I guess it depends what area you're in.
I think we've crossed the peak of hysteria. The peak of hysteria. That's the problem. Is
Yeah. I mean, even in New York where it's bad, they say it's leveling off. I mean, but you also have, as Jim says, what the politicians, how are they going to make it out to be? That's part of it too.
Yeah, the Texas governor was saying we may ease by the end of May or middle of May. So I don't know.
Yeah, Alabama's governor came out today and said that they have a group looking at relaxing, doing it smartly, relaxing some restrictions, but still taking concern to make sure we don't have a flare up.
We got a newly elected Democrat governor, so he's really going to keep us wrapped up.
Yeah, he's going to be wrapped up in lawsuits with First Amendment violations because
they had the state troopers are at churches and stuff today. I'm thinking, what great PR for yourself, but okay. One of the most religious Bible Belt states there are, and you're having state troopers ticket people or whatever for going to service.
Ensure yourself you're a one-term governor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said earlier, we have the 8 people maximum. Don't matter what it is, 8 people. But most of the churches have adapted, to doing it online. The biggest thing is they're not getting the donations. That offering plate's not going around.
Right.
And now my mom, she might miss 5 weeks of church. But when she goes back in the next Sunday, she's got her tithe for those 5 weeks in that envelope. there's a lot of people that's not like her. You know, that they'll forget about it if they even, tithe on a regular basis. But that's
Well,
the
you can
biggest thing.
send
A lot
your-
of churches
You
around here
can
are hurting.
send your, you can send in your weekly contribution,
Yes, you can, and they take PayPal. But we have a mega church here, and they have their main campus not too far away from here, and then they have like 5 satellites that they beam the Sunday service to, and they have a huge payroll, and people are not making donations. The pastor of the church makes like $6 million
They're
a
all
year.
for the small business thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to really affect that group. But even the small churches, they're all, there's been articles in the paper about because they don't have the offerings, that they're starting to run short of money. So
Well, they can apply for the SBA. I think in that emergency thing, there is something for nonprofits in there.
it's a case where if it keeps on going very long, 2 things are going to happen. People are going to learn that they don't have to have that Big Mac every day.
Yep.
And, they're not going to have any money to spend on Big Mac. But I think it's going to really change people's spending habits.
They will all go out and buy big screen TVs with the money.
Well, see, that's just it. I think they ought to do. I am not against helping some businesses out, but when you call GameStop looking for a Switch, there's not any in the state of North Carolina.
No, but you know what? When they get that,
Switches has been sold.
When they get the stimulus check, the store that's going to get helped out the most is going to be Walmart.
Yeah.
Because they can go in Walmart, walk around, buy whatever, buy their big screen TV, buy their whatever.
It's going, instead of sticking it back.
Well, Tom, I'm gonna
That's
hop
what
off
they
here and
want
give
to
somebody
do.
else
They
a chance to
want
come
people
on.
to spend it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
I said I'm gonna hop off here to give somebody else a chance to come on.
Okay. Thank you for
Everybody
coming
be
in. I
well.
appreciate it.
See you, Beth.
Paddle on, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Beth. Give me a ring. I may turn loose some stuff.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Just call and ask for Gwen. She'll say, "Can you bring a U-Haul and the trailer down here?" It's going to be.
Yeah, but it's the old story. You hear the old adage: if you give someone who doesn't have money and somebody who has money, you start them off again at the same level and give them the same amount of money. It's the habits that people have. There's a reason why certain people they make better financial decisions, and so this, the sad thing is China caused all this, and if going and buying everything from Walmart is just sending money to China, which is we're taking all this money and rewarding a country that has set out to. I'm a conspiracy guy. I personally think this was on purpose.
Yeah, sometimes you wonder. I agree.
This isn't from the bats that supposedly came from the wet market. There's no bats within 900 kilometers of that place. They're blaming this stuff on something. They think hey, well, then they're going to figure it out. They're spread lies. You're never going to know the truth.
Well, like the thing, even with the stimulus checks, I'm going to take it, but I'm not really keen on all this money that's getting handed out, because what's the repercussions, 10 years down the line from this? It's got to be paid back. It isn't like it's just free money.
Somebody's
Somebody's got to pay for it.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. Well, and yes, everybody pays in taxes and stuff. You can say, well, that's my tax money, but there will be economic repercussions because of all this money that they're shoveling out into all this stuff.
And what we do this fall, when the next flu comes, that's weird.
Yeah.
So what do we do this again?
Yeah.
How much? There's only so much gross national product.
Yeah.
It's and people don't learn. Back in when the real estate collapsed in It just, it affected everybody. People just didn't learn that you got to put some money back. And then this day, rainy day gets real expensive.
But how much money could you put back? How much money could you put back for this? You could say you have 30,000 in liquid. I mean, 30,000. I mean, that is like that. I mean, it doesn't take long to burn through. And I'm not talking like, oh, I'm just being a spendthrift. If you were living off 30,000 without any income coming in, you would make it maybe 12 months.
And if you had a rainy day fund, this just ate it. So what are you going to do this fall when the next flu comes? If this is the new normal, that every time there's a new strain of flu that could actually kill people like all flus do, I don't know how we could sustain that. I don't know how we do this again. And there's going to be a new. There was the last one with SARS. There was the other one with the swine flu.
Yeah.
There's every 5, 6, 7 years or so, there's one of these new flus comes out. If we do this every time, we ain't gonna make it as a country. I mean, we will bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say, and it's probably going to cost me 30, 40, 50 subscribers like it did the last time that when Kathy was out there. And I don't care. But you know what? I think that if a Democrat was president, the media would not have played it like they've played it. There, I've said it.
Well,
I agree.
That
you're coming in an election year.
I don't think liberals would disagree with you on that.
Yeah, that's why yesterday was so much fun. With Trump roasting the media right there in front of everybody.
That was a great COVID update thing. Oh yeah, I watched that one live. That was awesome.
I mean, I think a lot of this has been media hysterical. We truly, you can't treat, let's take Iowa. You can't treat rural Iowa like you're treating New York City, because Iowa's not having the same issues. You've got all these people that are so condensed into one space. Just think about how are you? These people live in these huge condos and apartments. How are you supposed to get up in an elevator to maintain 6 feet apart whenever the elevators are full? Have you seen pictures of the subway? The subways are full.
Yeah.
I mean, just to the density of the population, they're more suspect.
You're a third-rate reporter. Is that what Trump said? You're a third-rate reporter?
Yeah, he said that before.
Yeah, he played a video of his timeline versus how the media was like reporting it. It was good. I mean, it was a really good press conference he had yesterday.
He ran clips of it was a media person asked him if you would have acted sooner because you have saved more lives. Well, yes, if he would have acted the first year of his presidency to shut down the government in case we ever had a virus come through, he probably could have. I mean, it's a gotcha question. I mean, of course, when anything bad happens, like a car accident, well, if you would have never left the house that morning, could you have prevented the accident? Well, of course. So, I mean, it was a gotcha question. So anyway, he ran some kind of thing they put together on all the things where the media saying that COVID wasn't dangerous. It was just this Wuhan, and everybody's calling it the Wuhan flu, which later they're calling Trump racist for referring to it as
the Chinese flu.
Yeah, Chinese flu, but also Wuhan. That's also racist. So I mean, it was he ran this tape, and it just, I mean, she came after that. I mean, this woman was just enraged. I mean, she's just on fire. It's worth seeing.
It's and Scott, I have a friend that she's way left, like 2 miles off of the coast of Japan left. She says, "Who is this Scott Zilke that you share all this stuff with?" I said, "He's a good friend of mine from Alabama." She said, "Well, you got to quit sharing that stuff." And I'm like, "You can always unfriend me." But she said, "Who is a Scott Zilke?"
I just find stuff that are funny, and I think they're truthful.
See, because most of it is funny,
Yeah, it's
and a lot of it is brought on by stupid people. Yeah, you're right, Mr. Sadie. We are China's bitch. And I
Yeah.
just don't understand why we can, well, I know why we can't. Why we can't make a dollar piece of plastic that's a piece of plastic that sells for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Why we can't make that same thing here when it's all automated?
Because it costs too much to do it here.
Because we have too many. You know, when you've got a company that's got 100 million stockholders, and each one of them want their 25 cents a share. That's a lot of 25 cents that have to be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it took a while for that. I mean, this is when like companies were leaving in the 80s and that's how this happened. This didn't just happen like now, you know, like, oh, we lost all our manufacturing. When did that happen? I mean, that stuff was all happening back in the 80s and that.
If you look, you know, I've been blessed to be able to travel a lot doing FBA, and there are shuttered factories everywhere. I mean, it is amazing everywhere you go. Where we stuff that we used to make and build all over this country.
My family was from Milwaukee, and a lot of my family members worked at Lattice. Lattice doesn't do anything in Milwaukee anymore. I mean, it consists of blocks of factory buildings. I mean, in the 60s when my family was there, they were putting a lot of that stuff they were making for NASA. They were sending up into space, and that about 84, they shut it down and said, we're moving the plant to Mexico, and there's some job openings in Arkansas. You can either go to Arkansas or go to Mexico. And that was it.
Down in Columbia, there is a 500,000 square foot manufacturing building that has now been bought by 3 storage locker companies. They all back up to each other. They broke it up into those indoor storage units because that's the only thing anybody can find a reason to do with it.
Yeah, I think that's the big change gonna come out of this is you know, in the 80s. I know you guys, most of them on the panel we were all alive in the 80s. The huge push for Made in America, buy Made in America was huge. You know, late 70s, early 80s, as Walmart's dominance picked up in the late 80s, that kind of faded out of. You know, give us cheap goods kind of faded, kind of killed the.
I remember we were kids. Walmart. Everything was made in the USA.
Absolutely, when they first started, everything.
Yeah, when they first started.
But they lifted trade restrictions with China in the late 80s, and that's when you saw this just explosion of Chinese goods coming in. And if you remember in the 80s, you were throwing a football in the house, you hit a lamp, your mom would have a hemorrhage because you'd be like, oh, you know what that lamp cost me? That same lamp back in the 80s cost $27 in 1980s, late 1970s, early 1980s dollars. It cost like $27 at JCPenney or Sears or whatever. But all of a sudden, you hit the 90s, that same lamp is like $7. The dollar's worth less, you know what I mean, because of inflation. But you've got these, instead of prices going up, we're getting all this stuff from China and going the other direction. Now, yeah, I mean, now today, if your kid breaks a lamp, it's like, whatever, we'll just go to Walmart and get another one. They're cheap, you know? So it's like the value of the goods you have is gone, you know, with these Chinese imports. They just became impossible to compete with. So whatever. I mean, it's gonna be tough to bring. That's gonna be one of the things that's gonna be hard to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
I don't think it's impossible, but it's definitely an uphill battle.
Yeah.
You're gonna go back to. I mean, like when you're a kid. I don't know if you remember, like in the 70s, stuff cost more.
Scott's not as old as you.
Well, he's old. He remembers the 70s.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm 51. I'm chasing.
Oh, I didn't think you were that old.
I mean, he's good looking for his age, but I get.
Oh wow, that's an odd statement for a man to say about another man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't know you had that kind of relationship.
I'm sorry, handsome.
When we moved to Rock Hill, which is 30 minutes away from here, in 1970, there were 5 major textile mills in Rock Hill, and one of them was Celanese, and Celanese was huge. They're gone. Everything's gone. The whole Celanese That's what they call it, the Celanese. The building, all of that crap is gone. They've torn it down, and there's apartments and houses there now.
Yeah, it was Fruit of the Loom here, and I guess, well, I wasn't from here then, but when Fruit of the Loom closed up, I mean, you had people that had worked in that factory, you know, their whole life, right out of high school and everything. It really killed this area until they got Amazon moved in.
Is it okay to let him in, Scott?
Yeah, he's a scoundrel, but he's all right.
He's a scoundrel.
You invited me in earlier, but I was working. So.
I referred to him as Scott's Harlot a while ago.
That was creepy.
Yeah, that was. But if you did get that tattoo, it would make a hell of a YouTube video.
I need one. Not that one, but I do need a tattoo.
Okay.
I was thinking about getting a sleeve. Should I get a sleeve?
He's got the word baby on his shoulder.
I mean, like, I don't know. I'm 46, and I'm like, do I need to invest like $800 in a tattoo on me?
No, he could get a sleeve with Scott's face, and then have the date. And that, no, when people ask what the date is, that's the date I met the bearded figure.
No.
What the hell what did I walk into tonight?
I don't know. What did I come into? I don't know.
I'm gonna start.
Well, you started talking about tattoos, and Tom started calling you Scott's Harlan. So.
You kind of put your traveling on hold for the time being, haven't you, Scott?
See, that's what's wrong with America. Two red-blooded heterosexual males can have a good friendship. Come on now.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Is that what y'all call it?
Everybody.
I wasn't insinuating you guys had anything more than that.
I wasn't either. It's always Scott's talking about I'm going by and get Harlan, and that's the reason I said is that Scott's Harlan.
I drive to the yard sale, so it doesn't make any sense. He lives 8 miles from here.
That's right. Well, we used to go to yard sales.
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
Now it's a house.
Can we have a moment of silence for the yard sales?
Yeah.
Amen.
So Alabama, can you have a yard sale or no?
I think so.
Oh, because like here you can't. The governor said no yard sales.
I haven't heard anything specific.
I don't think it's been out long specifically.
There was one on the yard sale treasure map last weekend.
Yeah, here they're like, no, you cannot do it at all.
I scanned yard sale treasure map this weekend, and I scanned down to Austin, which is always covered up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those little blisters they put on the yard sale treasure map. You scan down to Austin, and there are thousands. And this weekend there were 2.
Yeah, because
like,
the couple times we were there, Harlan and I were over there for the green room meetup.
Yeah.
Man, there were the yard sale treasure map. I mean, it would look like just a big red blob. You had to get way into it because there were just so freaking many of them.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about Austin, and for them to have none is like, whoa, it's COVID time. So, yeah, I just buy out my niece and I'm good.
You know, they had on down Carmel Road. They had a yard sale this past Saturday. And there was a bunch of people that I rode down there, and I didn't even stop because there must have been a dozen people in their front yard. So I think people were just glad to get out of their house and go somewhere. But it's
I should have a yard sale this weekend just to see who would come. I bet everybody in Waco would show up in my house.
Mm-hmm.
If you said you had video games, they would.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you'd have people waiting.
I'd have to carry around my gun out there and say, "Hey, back off." One at a time, 6 foot.
On the property.
Yeah, one at a time, 6 foot. I'd have people line up around the block. Man, the city police will be out here like in about a minute.
I guarantee you, there's people out there looking for them.
When Jim was moving down here, he'd be down here on it by himself, and the loggers would be here. And he's like, I'm in a new area. I don't know nobody. I'd be by myself in case there's like something going on. So he'd have this holster on, and he has this Ruger 44. So it's a pretty big gun. And then those loggers would be like, kind of like looking at us because they thought we were like some kind of yuppies from Chicago or something. It's just kind of funny.
It's
I was talking to a reseller. I won't say his name, but he said he was big in video games, and the video game market was really big in his area. So he said about once a year, he would have a yard sale. He'd let his wife run it, and he would put video games and put pictures of all the best video games out there. And all his competition would come to his yard sale, and he'd go out and get all the games. He would have just a few crappy games. And they said, "Where's the good games?" He'd say, "Oh, somebody stopped by and bought them." Or his wife would say that. And he was at the other yard sales buying all the other. I thought that was kind of clever. I'm not going to say his name, but I thought that was kind of clever.
Mm-hmm. That's thinking outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
I had to run down to my mom's house on Sunday, and I went the back way, and I went by. It's a good sized flea market, and it was so weird to see that flea market sitting there empty on a Saturday afternoon. I mean,
there's no national flea market, nothing. Killing me.
And people are paying for their spaces. I hope they're giving them some kind of break on it.
Well, if they're closed,
we got these things here called the Peddlers Mall here, and they got that shut down. I'm like, oh man, those poor people that rent their spaces, and now it ain't even open. That sucks. And honestly, how could the Peddlers Mall not charge you rent? Because they have to pay rent to the strip mall that they're in. It's crazy.
I think that's what the biggest concern is it's like the government's wanting the landlords not charge, give them a break on this rent. And the landlords are saying, I got a mortgage payment. You get the banks to give me a break on my mortgage, skip a mortgage payment.
No.
The crap stops flowing downhill at some point.
Yeah. And unfortunately,
the billions of dollars this has cost. Look at like Florida, and the theme parks are all closed, and spring break, or the South Carolina, all these places that are vacation places at spring break. Billions of dollars in revenue was lost.
Scott's familiar with North Carolina. Scott, have you ever been to Carowinds?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, there was an article in the paper about it. They're supposed to be opening up this month. They haven't even hired people to start working because they haven't been able to get, they haven't even been able to do interviews and whatnot.
Well, I was reading something that Walmart, it was one of my friends on Facebook whose kid got a job at Walmart. They were hiring over the phone. They were doing phone interviews and hiring you on the phone. They never met him in person. They were hiring him on the phone, and they were come to the orientation.
It's Roberta my wife was ordering something off of Facebook, off of Amazon, and she had like 3 things picked out, and one of them, 2 of the things was coming from Charlotte because we have like 3 or 4 distribution centers here. We got it that evening. The other thing she ordered was going to be like 24 days before we could get it. Amazon is hiring like crazy.
I got a card in the mail, and they're starting at almost like $19 an hour. I think it was like $18.50 or $18.75.
Amazon's also cutting their associate program to nothing. Their categories that they were paying like 8% and 6% in, they just cut to 3%.
Oh,
Starts-
$18.50 an hour through April 30th. Yeah, this just came in the mail. Come get a job.
That's the reason Jim's got that bum knee. Tara's going to
Oh,
send
because
him
he
over.
went and got no. We don't work for the man. We don't work. We're not those kind of people.
It's going to be nasty this summer.
Hey Jim, what is this? Is this for an Evan route? Is this a
That's happening like this big one. That's,
yeah, like a reverse?
like, like those 19,
Yeah,
76,
yeah,
like the rotary, like the
yeah.
Yeah, that's why we had a discussion. Like, was it today? We're talking about debt on the show this morning, and all these SBA loans and all this stuff. I'm telling you, pay off what you can now. And carrying debt is not.
No.
It's gonna.
Okay. When I bought my house, I bought it free and clear, so I don't have a mortgage. I can tell you, like now, I'm really happy I don't have to worry about a mortgage.
It's not going to go away.
Because when the last real estate crash hit, there were $1 million houses going for like $400,000
If you're
because people couldn't make payments. How can people qualify for a freaking couple $1 million house, and then after 5 months it's going to be foreclosed on? I mean, who the hell wrote the paper on that?
the house poor and their car poor.
Yeah, because they don't look at all their other debt that they have. Also, they probably have $1,000 car payments on top of that.
Yeah, and credit cards. You know, they probably have high
Credit
limit
cards and kids in private school. Probably, there's no telling.
A friend of mine bought a house back after the last crash. He bought it and he was on Flip It. And after he finished fixing the stuff that needed to be fixed in it and painting it and whatnot, his wife said, "I like this place." And he said, "Well, I'm glad you like it because we're probably going to end up living here." And it was like appraised at like $1.5 million. He paid $400,000 for it, and he was going to sell it for like $900,000 is what he's got it listed for. Still couldn't sell it. So they ended up selling their house, which was in the $300,000 price bracket. He ended up selling that and using it for, and they just moved into the other house. Now they want to sell it because their taxes are $16,000 a year.
Good God.
That's Alabama.
Go ahead, Scott.
Alabama is closed. We don't have that kind of mess. Closed.
Yeah.
The house
I
that
heard
was in
Alabama
the
was a
movie.
place to go live.
I lived in North Carolina.
Go to Alabama.
Go to North Carolina. It was wonderful when I was there.
Cha-ching! I just sold another video game.
No, I wouldn't trade. I wouldn't trade it. I was born in North Carolina. I've spent more than half my life there. Wilmington was expensive, but it was nice. The one thing about Wilmington was if you pick the right schools, Jacob got a great education there. His high school is ranked number 11 in the entire state of North Carolina when he was there. So don't have regrets. North Carolina's not a bad. It's not the same place now because it is changing as the Northerners move down, farther down. North Carolina seems to be their first stop. So it's not the same place I grew up anymore. But man, old Roy Cooper, what a piece of work he is. I have not been impressed with Roy Cooper at all.
Oh, it's going to be nasty. This
Because he can't run again. Can he?
I told Roberta we were just going to turn the TVs off, and she works for the cable company. You know, because you're not going to be able to watch anything except damn political commercials.
The Cooper,
Especially after all this.
can he can't run again, can he? He's is he up for re-election this time?
Yeah, he's got one more term.
He's got one more term, okay. Then he's out.
Yeah.
He has to sit out. He can pull the old Governor Hunt and come back again after he sits out one.
I think they changed that.
Oh, did they
I
really?
think once you've done your terms, you're done.
Yeah.
know what, guys? People really have got ego complexes to take the abuse that they take to fight like they do for these jobs. I mean, it's like being president. First of all, you know, like Trump, he's got to move into a small house in a bad neighborhood. You know, I mean, you know, he's like Mrs. Trump decided she's gonna go along with that. I mean, and all of them come out looking like death. You know, it don't matter whether Republicans or Democrats. They all come out. Their hair is as white as snow.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
It must be. Well, I know. Look at this here. It must be amazing to be able to sit in that big old chair in that Oval Office.
Yeah, if you look at Clinton, look at George Bush especially. I mean, he is really one to look at it in 2000 versus 2008. It's Obama the same way. I mean, his transformation is he aged tremendously.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, not wanting to jump into the political ring here, but Uncle Joe's going to have a hard time. He can't even remember who the hell he's running against.
Yeah, we finally got Obama to endorse him today.
Or what he's running for.
You know, and I'm not talking bad about the man. They need to really check him out. But see, what they're going to do is they're going to guarantee that they have a woman president, because if he should win, he's already said he's going to have a woman vice president. So she will become the first female vice president. And I damn sure would have Hillary as my vice president, because you know what? I'd be afraid that I'd get depressed while I was up there. And then find me sitting in a closet with 5 bullet holes in my head where I shot myself.
What's the lady's name he's looking at?
Well, you have a lady from Georgia that lost that election. Is that Stacey Abrams?
Oh my!
She was running for president, wasn't she? The other girl was.
Was she the one that they bitched about being too conservative?
No.
The one that he's thinking about getting?
What's her name? I just saw a picture of her.
Oh, Talisi.
Oh, Gabby. No.
Gabby Talisi or something like that.
You want me to sign something? Where?
There was a lot of talk about the Michigan governor until she just went off the rails here lately.
Yeah. Yeah,
all right, come on.
Please, good God, tell me that he's not looking at Harris. You know, these politicians have just lost their damn mind. That's all there is to it. But I believe Joe was having some Alzheimer's or something, dementia.
No.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying to make fun of him. That's serious business there. But when his wife has to remind him how many grandchildren he has.
Yeah, didn't he confuse her on stage with somebody else?
His wife and somebody, they had swapped sides.
His wife and his sister. I think it was it his sister?
Yeah, he voted one way, and I think they had actually swapped sides, and he didn't know it.
Yeah.
They ran with it. It was funny.
I shared something to Jim's Facebook where it's like this guy, it's like Biden quotes and jazz, where they go through all his like weird things he said, but they put it with jazz music. It's like this art. It's kind of funny. Anyway.
I need to start searching Facebook for you, Tom, just so you can make your friend mad.
I'm serious, Scott. You ought to heard her. Who? She calls me up and I say, "Hey, Mary, how you doing, baby? Who is this Scott Zilke that you keep sharing all this?" And I mean, you can just hear the venom in her voice. Who is this Scott Zilke that you keep sharing all this stuff from? Oh, he's my good friend down in Alabama.
You need to send her a friend request, Scott.
I heard you were.
Oh, Lord.
Thank
Now,
you.
see, I'm still friends with her, but I don't get her posts because she, like I said, she's way left, and she posts all this bullshit on her page, you know, and so I think it's unfollowed her. I'm still friends with her, but I don't get her feed because I just.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones from yesterday was the picture of Michelle Obama with the mustache or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The goatee. That was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. But like I said, I posted one time because I got some people saying, why do you keep posting this political stuff? And I had to say, this is my Facebook page. If you don't like it, unfriend me.
Yeah, I did the one a couple of days ago. The Facebook cleanup, Facebook friends cleanup. I believe in the wall. I believe in God. I believe in this. I believe abortion is murder. That was it.
Yeah. There is a, I can't remember what his name is, but he's Hispanic. He's kind of short and fat. And he's a comedian. And he was talking about he has a bus driver who is from America. So it must be one of them good old Texas boys. Anyway, he says that he's the best bus driver. He keeps that thing spotless. He says, if I drop something on the floor, he says, I'm not your mama, pick that up. But he said that they were having a discussion about, I know he's talking about Trump and the wall and making Mexico pay for it. He said, there's nothing wrong with that. And he said, by the time he hit this button, which raised a partition between the back of the bus where he was usually at and where the driver's compartment is, and he shut the door, and then he pushed the button, and he said, and you're paying for it. Talking about he just paid for that wall. But they put some funny stuff on there. Like I said, you're really egotistical to want to be a politician with the abuse that you take.
Yeah, I'm surprised Joni didn't say anything about the one with Bigfoot hanging out the back window saying taking your wife to the beauty. After this, she didn't comment on it. She must have missed it.
My wife loved that.
I almost tagged her.
Because she saw the one that said, marry a short woman, put everything on the top shelf because you can at least hear her dragging the chairs when she's coming after your guns. Yeah, that's what it's my Facebook account. It's there for my entertainment. The heck with it.
That's it. You know, I post what I want to, and if I don't want to see what you post, then I'll unfollow you. Otherwise, I post what I want to. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But as far as like, you know, I'm just using this for example, making a cancer joke or something like that. Don't want to do anything like that. But you know, this political crap, you know, you get what you get.
And like Jeff Davidson's a reseller, the Cosmic Frog. He posts a lot of the same crazy stuff I do. Everything he posts, I'm like, that is really funny. Like, here's the last one. Did a load of pajamas so I'd have clean work clothes for this week.
I saw him on somebody's live stream the other day. I don't remember who I was watching.
Yeah, Jeff, he's a funny guy. I like Jeff. And then anything with a Tiger King on is fair game. It's got to be reposted.
Did you watch the other one? Was it Sunday night? A new one came out?
No, I did not. I haven't finished watching the other one yet. Johnny keeps Johnny's one of these that'll watch everything all the way through, and I'll watch a couple and quit, and maybe I'll make it back. I think I'm on episode 4 of Tiger King, and she's like, "You need to finish it so I can finish talking to you about this." I'm like, "I'm really not that interested." You can only watch trailer parks for so long that
that's a part of your life that you'll never get back.
But I do like there's the young fella on YouTube who sings the song about didn't know that meth and tigers will make straight guy gay. It's that bitch Carol Baskins is the one that got away. That's the name of the song. That's
What is the deal with her? I started watching like 30 minutes of Tiger King or whatever it's called, and I was like, "No, I just don't get it." And I haven't watched it. Did she have something to do with it?
She's the arch nemesis, and she sued him, and he's been at her, and they've been back and forth for years. And that's why he's in jail for supposedly hiring a hitman to kill her. Her husband was going to go check on some property and disappeared and never came back. Yeah, she fed him to the tigers. I mean,
and she had just got an insurance policy said if he dies or disappears without a trace, then it pays, and he disappeared without a trace.
See, I think the Amazon eBay thing is a scam for Scott, because he spends all his time on Facebook looking for funny stuff.
It's not hard to find. You follow enough of these crazy groups, they are everywhere. I mean, it's like 10 minutes you can post like 20 things.
Oh my God, you didn't like that show, Tom?
I just couldn't get into it.
No, I thought you would have really been into all those cats, just sitting there drooling over them.
Nah.
You know what was really good about it? It's all the crazy people. It's Carol Baskin. She's crazy. She might have killed her husband. It's Joe. He's really crazy. It's the guy in North Carolina or South Carolina that has like the multiple girlfriends, wives, and he calls himself. They're like, well, what is he a doctor in? And it's like the mystical arts or something. And then
half my family there.
And then it's the guy that Joe's partners with this sketchy guy, and his open relationship with his girlfriend or whatever. I mean, they're just all crazy. That's what makes the show good. It's just I can't believe you could find that many totally crazy people to put together in one show like that.
The one that gets me is the girl that had her arm chewed off by a tiger.
Oh my God, I know.
And she's back at work in a week.
Yeah, well, her arm is there, and then they're like, well, we could do all this surgery. So then she just opted to have him cut it off, and he thought he was going to get sued, and she never sued him. She just went back to work. I mean, good grief. And then I like when he's like, after they take her away, and he's like, okay, now nobody feed their arms to the tigers anymore or whatever.
Where does this take place at?
Oklahoma.
Well, he's in Oklahoma, but they're interviewing other exotic park people. So Carol Baskins is in Florida. The other guy, Doc, is I think he's South Carolina. I'm not sure. He's in one of them, but I think it's South Carolina.
I thought when you said Carol Baskin, you had to say that bitch Carol Baskin. Isn't that the whole that bitch Carol Baskin?
And then the memes that are some of my favorite. I love that little white cat. The cat just gives him hell.
It's back. He's back.
Yeah, the latest. I can't believe you shredded the toilet paper. Wait till the laxative kick in, bitch.
I know.
I can't tell you how many the cat was I've reposted this.
Somebody would, if the person that owns the cat photo would do T-shirts, he'd be richer than Bill Gates.
Yeah,
I was telling somebody that I said, you ever watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the clay animation back in the day when you had all the land of the misfit toys and they landed and picked them up? That's who works for the tiger guy, the misfits. It's all the misfits. They work for him because they all come from some kind of like drug, meth,
just out of jail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they have that one guy with the long hair that worked for Joe. When they're interviewing him, he's like high or drunk or something because he's like just passes out on the bed while they're interviewing him.
So to feed the tigers, they buy the expired meat trucks from Walmart, and he paid them so little that these guys, as they're taking the meat off the trucks, are getting stuff to put in their trailers because they're eating the expired meat.
Yeah,
they're picking parts of the expired meat and then they're feeding the rest of the tigers. It's just one crazy train wreck.
Oh God, there's just too
Oh
much
my God! And then
craziness
that
going.
Joe, he's got the 2 husbands he's married, but then okay, so they're probably doing a lot of drugs or whatever. So that guy's like, oh no, he didn't have a magazine in his pistol. He goes and shoots himself in the head and ends up killing himself. I mean, it's just like horribly tragic events, one after the other.
I saw a
A friend of my
picture.
brother's has a construction company, heavy equipment. They do grading and whatnot. He said this guy came in for a job interview, and he could not even stand up. He was so stoned.
Oh my
And he said,
God.
"Dude,
Wow.
do you think I'm gonna let you get it behind the wheel of a $500,000 piece of equipment?" He said, "You could tear up every truck in this on this job site before we can get you stopped." He said, "Man, I'm good. I'm good. It's legal in Michigan." And he's like, "We're not in Michigan. We're in South Carolina."
Honestly, if you want to see another crazy documentary that's on Netflix, I watched it on Easter Sunday. It's the R. Kelly one. That one's really crazy too.
And somebody was telling me I've got to watch it. The West Virginia Whites or the Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Oh, Wild and Wonderful Whites. Oh yeah, there's a good rabbit hole. They are really cool. And then when you really get into them, Durkee, old dirty white boy, he does a live YouTube show, and Jessica sells on eBay, and I've watched that movie probably 50 times.
Oh Lord, I'll have to queue it
And
up.
if you find the DVD in the wild, it sells on eBay for like, I haven't looked at it for a while. It was like selling on eBay for 50 or 60 bucks because I don't think they made that many copies of it.
What was that?
The DVD for the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia movie, if you find that, I think on eBay it was selling for like 50 or 60 bucks.
Nice.
It's oh God, when you're talking about trash TV, it used to be you talking about trash TV, you were talking or trash movies you were talking about, they were just terrible. Now they're talking about the trash that they're making movies and TV shows about. The white trash.
Have you watched the Wild and Wonderful Whites, Tom?
No.
Oh, you'd like it's good. I mean, yeah, they're totally messed up.
So this is what happens when you stick us all at home and no sports.
I don't know. You start watching the Whites, that is like watching sports. I've
See,
been
that's
around the
another
whole
thing
horn
that's
on the
hard by
Whites.
this.
Yeah, I have watched everything about the Whites. I even have watched Turkey live.
That's another thing. It's bad. You know, Clemson's scared that they're not going to be able to get their team put together enough so they can beat Alabama again.
May not be a football season.
No.
There might not be. Baseball is not looking too good either.
Don't worry, if there's not a football season, I think Alabama can claim that as another championship.
We got this.
Ole Miss will still win the party.
They'll get to the trophy first.
Yeah, if you look at all the ones from in the early 20s and 30s that are claimed that are 17, there were like 15 different people giving out championships.
And that's funny. Auburn still didn't get any of those.
Who is it? Central Florida, South Florida? Who is it that claimed part of it a couple of years ago?
Central Florida, or was it
Central
UCF?
Florida.
It was
UCF. Okay.
Yeah, it was UCF. The Knights.
No, this is something I don't get about this Auburn Alabama thing. A friend of mine's son went to Auburn.
Poor bastard.
And they despise. I mean, they just like spit blood when they say Alabama. They just despise them. And I'm like, dude, you paid about $200,000 for your kids to go to school there, and all you can complain about is the fact that it costs. Alabama beats you in football. Really.
They beat us this year.
And then I have a neighbor. I didn't realize it until I saw the big Alabama flag flying in his front yard. And I stopped by there one day, and He was out in the front yard, and I said, "Roll Tide." He said, "You heard me, brother." And then I said, I have this friend down in Alabama that's obsessed with Alabama. He says, "We all are. We all are." He says, "If you went to Alabama or you got a connection to Alabama, you're obsessed with it." And I said, "What do you think about Auburn?" He says, "If you're going to use that word, get the hell out of my yard."
Yep.
Hell, I like that guy already.
I said, which he laughed when he said it, so I knew he was kidding. I said, "So Alabama's just as bad as the Auburn fans about the other team." He said, "God, I hate those people."
Old school picker. At this point, I'm not laughing at you, buddy. I feel sorry for you.
I almost kicked him out of the chat.
Who is the Vols? Volunteers?
Tennessee.
I'm sure there's a counter somewhere. How many days has it been since Tennessee beat us?
1 million.
We need to put the widescreen up so we can get that number up there.
You know what's sad when I start typing it in, it shows up on Google search. Today makes 4,382 days since Tennessee beat Alabama.
Wow.
That is sad that they've got web pages up to give you that kind of information.
The number for Ole Miss is more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, Ole Miss.
What was that, 15 and 16?
Yeah, it's not nearly as many. It's like 12 years now with Tennessee.
Wow.
See, I always, after listening to Scott and the whole Alabama thing, and being that I live in North Carolina, where everybody is a UNC fan, Carolina Blue.
Hell no! I grew up in North Carolina. I was a State fan.
Well, that's where our affiliation is, because we've invested $100,000 in that deal. But you know, those damn Duke people, you were not obsessed at all. You were an okay fan compared to those Duke people. They are obsessed. I mean, super obsessed.
You realize I've lived there and I've lived here about half and half. It's nowhere close. I'm telling you, Alabama Auburn is like nothing you've ever. Until you come here and experience it, you don't understand how it is. It is every day, all day. I mean, when we moved here with my mother in 1986, I was not here. I mean, it truly is. You don't get a week before somebody said you have to declare which school you're for. I mean, they start asking you immediately, and don't pick the wrong school.
Well, what did you say? You're like,
we just happened to
Georgia
move,
Tech.
we just happened to move to Tuscaloosa, so I said, "Hell, Alabama's right here, Alabama." And little did I know that was going to be an obsession for the rest of my life.
I don't see how two people can be married and be for opposite teams. And I'm not an Alabama or Auburn fan.
My brother graduated from Auburn. He's Auburn, and I have not watched a game with him and will not watch an Alabama-Auburn game with him.
And it's a good story. So the first flea market after we lost to Auburn this year, one of our friends that goes with us, he called Harlan and said, "You got room in your van? Can I ride with y'all?" He goes, "Because there's no way on God's earth I'm riding with them Auburn fans all the way to the flea market." That's a true story. I'm like,
we've got family friends.
We got you.
She went to Clemson. He went to University of South Carolina. They have a son that went to Georgia Tech, another son that went to LSU, and a daughter that went to Harvard.
Wow.
You don't even want to be around them during football seasons because somebody's bitching about the other one.
None of them probably agree on anything.
I grew up a Bama fan. My daughter graduated from Alabama, and my son is at Alabama now, so it's all Alabama.
Nice.
Oh Lord. There's crazy Appalachian boys. Something about them.
Yeah,
Now, if you want to go to a party school, you got to go to Happy Appy. Isn't that right, Scott? Appalachian State.
That's one of the big. They won a big game years ago.
yeah. When I was at Bama was in the top. They always do that, with top party schools or whatever. In the late '80s, Alabama was at the top of that list. Alabama in the late '80s was a crazy party school. I mean, they intentionally toned it down to get Alabama off those lists. But if you look in the mid to late '80s, Alabama was a wild place.
Yep. Probably half and half in my high school class went Alabama and Auburn.
It's gotten too damn expensive to have so much fun.
Yeah. So when we moved, when Jacob was a senior, he applied to North Carolina State. He applied to Alabama, and he applied here at University of Alabama, Huntsville. In state, he never really pursued state because Alabama offered him a half a scholarship. The cost for out of state for Alabama was $45,000 a year to University of Alabama. $45,000. And the school here said, we'll cover 80% of his tuition, and the second year we'll give you in-state for the rest of the last three. And so what does that mean we'll owe the first year? They said probably $4,000. We're like, sold. You're moving before I can even get it out of my mouth. Johnny's like, you're moving me home, and that's where he's going to school.
And we loaded up the truck and we moved to Huntsville.
He's known he wanted to be an engineer for years, so aerospace engineering at Alabama Huntsville is not a bad place to be.
Yeah, big engineering school.
We got a friend that their daughter goes to Harvard for their business school, and here's how she ended up going to Harvard. They went to a seminar, and the person doing the seminar, which we were at the same seminar, said, apply for, if how many of y'all thought about applying for like Harvard or Yale, and people were laughing. They said, go ahead and apply for it. All it cost you is $35. Well, she got accepted, and they were going to give her. They sent her how much it was going to cost her to go there, and it was like 90% off of the price. Well, 90% off was still too much.
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote them back and said, thank you for the offering. That's just a little too much. So she ended up paying, they sent her another offering, and it was like $2,200 a year. Room and board, everything. That was it.
Wow.
And that's because she is a straight A. She was like 5 points from having a perfect
SAT
ACT score.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an ACT score, ACT. They wanted her there, and the reasoning why is they said that there's a lot of rich people that with dumb children that could write a check to send them to Harvard, but Harvard needs they need some smart kids there to keep the scores up and whatnot. So it cost her like $10,000 to go to Harvard for 4 years.
Wow.
And she got her business degree.
I mean, there are good schools in North Carolina they could have gone to. One of my best friends in high school ended up going to Davidson. Davidson is one heck of an academic school in North Carolina, right down the road from you.
That's a private school, isn't it?
Davidson, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Oh God!
Look at the scores of that school to get into there, and
yeah, you got to be good.
He was a legacy. His grandfather, I think his grandfather went there, maybe his father too. So he was third generation going there. But he was
Davidson's
smart.
also
Don't get me wrong, he was smart too. He ended up going to North Carolina School of Math and Science for the last 2 years. Yeah, and he's a doctor now. He's crazy. Marcus is crazy smart.
Davidson is a very. That's where all the rich people get. Let's put it that way. That's like Presbyterian in South Carolina. That's where all the rich people send their kids. That's sending their kids to get an education. Yeah, their basketball, their sports programs suck, but they have a good academic schedule.
I didn't know that's where Presbyterian was. I'd heard of it.
Yeah, they have a waiting list to get in there. Brandon Carey will end up going to Harvard or Yale. He's
No,
too
I
smart to
don't
go.
think so. No, he doesn't even. Well, he wants to be a sheriff, so he's like, I don't want to spend like a ton of money on college. I want to do what he might want. He wants to go in the military, honestly.
I think that's a thing that's going to happen in the future. This is the one thing, all this college debt and all this crazy mess. I hope there's a change coming. We need the trades. I mean, this has demonstrated that how much we need trades, how much we need, people who have a skill that they've learned, electricians, plumbers. God forbid we lose any more truck drivers. These guys are doing yeoman's work right now. And it's about time, but just because that's your chosen career, we have a tendency to look down on people. And, I know plenty of good people to do all these things, and they live happy lives debt free because they're not saddled with $200,000 in college debt that they're begging somebody to get rid of because they spent 4 years partying and got a history degree with an art minor.
Yeah. I know an auto mechanic that he didn't go to college. He owns his own shop. I mean, he is very well off. There's no shame in that.
My doctor's son is a plumber. Because one day I asked him, I said, your children, are they doctors? Or are they going that direction? He's like, no, my oldest son's a plumber. And I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, he came to me and said, Dad, I really don't think I want to be a doctor. And he said, son, it's your life. You do what you want to do. And he said, what do you want to do? He said, well, I really like plumbing. I've messed around with helping Grandpa do stuff. He said, well, be a plumber. He said, remember, I just spent $1,700 having a bathroom replumbed. And he said, yeah. And he says now his son's got his own business now. And he said he makes more money than he does.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's a doctor.
And doesn't have the liability and all that kind of stuff to go.
That's the big thing for doctors is the liability insurance. That is so expensive.
I bet it is.
And you know what? Roberta and I were talking about this today. She watches all kinds of crazy shit on YouTube. These kids that are having all these hormone, what do they call it? Where it stops hormones from happening.
Like the gender reassignments and all that stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. All these kids, the young kids, when they get to be about 25 years old, and they realize that their life's been fucked up by some bunch of people, lawsuits are going to start flying. I was a child. You're a doctor. You were supposed to be looking out for my best interest, and you let this happen.
Yeah, that's. It's never too early for kids to learn not to give a damn what other people think. You've got to be happy. You've got one life. It's your life. The earlier you can decide in your life that you're going to do what you want to do and pursue your goals, your passions, you're so much happier and better off. Your life becomes so much better because that self-confidence and self-awareness that brings is amazing. That's why I post away, because I don't give a
I agree with you, Todd. I share all this stuff that you do. Like I said, this probably this was about a month ago. Did you have any sharp pains in your body? Because that was probably her sticking an effigy with a straight pin going.
She's probably the reason why I got this toothache and this migraine right now.
That might be it. Because she did the venom in her voice, which she says, "Who is that fat zilky?"
Yeah, I have a tendency to piss them off because the problem is when you get in an argument with those kind of folks, they start calling names and they can't back up their positions. And when you start laying facts on them, they get mad.
They're the worst. Because I have friends that put very liberal things on Facebook, and for the most part, I scroll by them because I just don't want to get into them. But if you share one thing that is your side, the venom just comes out and they just attack you.
And then they try to get me with the homophobe and all this stuff, and I have to remind them, you realize my mother divorced my father to go live with her girlfriend in the 70s. I've done with and dealt with all that stuff and could care less what people do. Hey, just don't push it on me. I can care. Go, live your life. Be happy. I don't care. And that really pisses them off.
Life is too short. You never know when you're not going to wake up the next morning.
Oh, absolutely.
And to be worried about BS. But you know what? In November, when Trump is reelected, it's not going to be pretty.
Well, I think that they should postpone the elections because, in Wisconsin, they wanted to do that and then they didn't. I think we should just leave Trump president through this crisis time and then figure it out next year.
The only way he gets beat is if they go to online voting.
Yes, I agree with you.
It's mail-in voting, which that's the scam they're trying to pull now. Is let's mail-in voting.
Yes, I agree with you.
But Pelosi attacked him. Did you see that?
I heard something, but I didn't read the article.
She came out and said all these deaths in America is on Trump. He didn't do what he should have done. It's like, you know what? This is, first of all, if you're going to do that, let's go all the way back to China. China lied, and they're still lying about how many people died over there. They could have prevented a lot of this. But,
she should look at her own history. I mean, remember when Trump shut down those, air travel from Wuhan, China? She was in the Chinatown in San Francisco. Come on out, it's okay. How many lives did she lose by telling people to come on out in mass gatherings?
And they also came out today and said there is a possibility that it did escape from a lab in China that is being investigated. They announced that today also. That was the big the Wuhan laboratory is right down the road from the wet market. But they're thinking it could have escaped from a laboratory. So they're looking at that.
Were there air quotes around the escaped?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as Jim says, he's what if they did do this on purpose and they could track how fast some kind of biological weapon virus can travel around the planet and what it could do, and the next thing could be even worse then.
Definitely. I saw a post on Facebook again somewhere. I don't remember what the city was, but it was some city close to Wuhan, and it showed how the virus had spread everywhere but around, everywhere worldwide, but had not hit that one city. It was 15, 20 miles away from Wuhan.
Yeah.
Or something like that, Mm-hmm. It's
remember when they shut down air travel from China when Trump did that? But then you had all these people that were there that were then going into Europe where they could hop a flight to come over to America then. Sometimes it does make you wonder a little.
Yeah, they called him
I don't want it to be too conspiracy, but it does make you wonder.
Yeah, all the Democrats called him a racist for that not letting flights in from China.
Yeah.
Mr. Sadie was born a lesbian in a man's body.
There's nothing.
Well, at least you know what you like.
Oh God, Mr. Sadie, we were saying that when I was 16, and that's been 46 years ago.
Yeah.
It's. I know people want to pick their sides and whatnot, but it's just getting way out of control. But it would, all it would have to have is one more of these viruses escape from the laboratory, and we would totally be screwed.
What if you had a virus that actually killed 10 to 15%? I mean, right now it's practically nothing. I mean, it's killing people and it's bad, but I mean the percentage, it's less than H1N1 still, I believe.
Oh well, I don't know.
It's close, but I mean, what if you didn't have a virus that was actually killing a lot of people? Then, see, right now, a lot of people's. Down here in Alabama, we have I don't know of anybody. There's some cases, but I mean, What if everybody knew somebody that had died? Then it'd be a whole different different ball game.
Is it cold in here to y'all?
What's that say?
Better watch out.
Rump. Trump.
Got the whole blanket. All I got's the cap, Scott.
You know, I had
the whole blanket.
I have it in a special place.
Is that a weighted blanket?
That crazy thing. I got stuck under that thing last night. I don't know how many of y'all had those weighted blankets. That 15-pound twin blanket, trying to get out of it in a recliner and being old. I'm sitting here thinking.
First of all, you're not old, Scott. Todd's the old one.
Yeah, I'm old. Scott ain't got no
And
excuse.
I'm right behind you. Todd's only 2 years older than I am.
It's
That's old as dirt, though.
and this is me. This was gonna be my Halloween. If we have Halloween, I'm gonna be a gnome.
Gnome.
Lord.
What else is in these crazy drawers? Oh, wait a minute. I'm still cold. This is my favorite one.
Impeach
Yes.
this.
Well, that's a good one.
He bought that at Nashville Flea Market, and the guy that he bought was that there? That's when he bought it.
Yeah.
Said people would come into his booth during the night and tear all his stuff down and go on the floor.
Hey.
Where was
I
that?
don't think you're a reseller unless you can sit in your chair and grab some kind of Trump propaganda right next to you.
It's it is sad that these people feel like they've got to do that kind of stuff.
Ridiculous. Where do y'all get this shit at? I don't know what you're talking about. I sell these. They sell well. So
Oh yeah. Oh, is that a bumper sticker?
yeah, it's a bumper sticker. And everybody's got to have their $1,000. It should say 1,200, right?
Oh my God! I was at when we still had live auctions here because all the flea markets have those Trump that Trump $1,000 bill. At the auction up here, they were selling them for like $18 a piece. I mean, the guy bought like $100 worth of those Trump dollars. I'm like, what in the heck? Because if you go on eBay, I mean, I think they sell for like $2 or something.
No, they're a lot less than that.
Yeah, they're cheap. I'm not kidding you. This little auction in my town, I'm just sitting there. And this guy's like a retired military guy. He goes, "Oh, I think I made a good investment for the future, for a collectible." I'm like, "Yeah, I think you did."
I sell two of these.
You live long enough.
Two of these.
Anyway.
One of these. I've got 74 cents in that, I believe, off of eBay, and I take it up to the auction. It usually goes $4 or $5. Nothing spectacular, but
Mr. Sadie, I feel your pain. I've got a tooth that's it's probably abscessed and no dentist for at least another couple of weeks. I called the emergency dentist today, and my dentist calls back. He's like, I'll call you in some pain medicine and some antibiotics. I never have headaches. I was thinking about stabbing my own self right in the temple last night.
Dang, dude.
did your drink taste funny?
And then I got high.
No worries.
Isn't that a song?
And then I didn't even know I had it.
Alabama?
Do what?
I said, is that legal in Alabama? The getting high part.
We're not in Alabama. We're on YouTube.
Nothing is legal in Alabama.
I'm in Michigan.
We have to go to Tennessee to buy lottery tickets.
Really?
Yes.
No lottery, no.
And that has not slowed down that business because the major highway right out here is 12 miles of Tennessee. The first store across the line is the Lottery Center, and I drove by there the other night. It was like 7:30 at night, and that place there must have been 30 cars there. I mean, it has not slowed down a bit. The Lottery Center is still kicking them out.
It's closed now.
Wow.
Is it really?
Some of them are. If it's just lottery tickets.
Yeah,
closed.
that was just lottery tickets. It was open the other day.
Really?
I'd be curious to see how much money leaves the state of Alabama going to Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee for that, and Mississippi for that reason.
Yeah,
But-
Alabama's
What is the reason they won't have the lottery there?
because
Bible-
It's
it's in the
gambling.
Bible somewhere. Can't gamble.
Oh, okay.
It is not to cast lots.
The state line is about 5 miles away from my house, and right across the state line is a gas station, and they sell more lottery tickets than any other place in South Carolina. And they said that they estimate 80% of their sales is to Charlotte residents, because should you happen to win in South Carolina, you don't have to. You can keep it complete secret. Whereas in North Carolina, if you should win, it's public record.
Yep.
So this guy said when he got up to $1.5 billion, he said this guy came in there and bought $2,000 worth of lottery tickets. And like the people that won, they got an attorney out of New York to come down and process it for them. So unless they've gone out and bought a couple of Rolls Royces and a $5 billion house or $1 million house, they can keep that secret.
Yeah, you can set up a trust and make it secret.
In North Carolina, you cannot accept it. You cannot accept the lottery.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you can accept it in a trust, but you have to declare who the trust holders are,
Oh,
because
wow.
that keeps everybody. It keeps it so everybody can feel like everything's legit. Well, first of all, there's nothing legit about the way they handle the money for these lottery. But so everybody in Charlotte drives down to South Carolina and buys their lottery tickets in case they win. They can keep it secret.
There's 5 of us at my work that play, and our last ticket is tomorrow. So the guy that normally buys the tickets is afraid to go in public. So I'm going to buy tickets.
I'm afraid to go in public.
Are you really? Man, that's sad.
I only went to 2 Walmarts today. I was so scared.
I went in food line today, and I felt like I was naked. I had no gloves on. I didn't have a face mask on. Some people had a face mask, and they had the shield, the visor, like a dentist wears.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm not going to touch you people.
At our Walmart, they got, I'm sure it's the same way a lot of them, they've got them separated. You got the carts lining it out, and you have to go in one door and out the other. They've got people trying to stay away from each other, but yet there's a Walmart employee sitting on a stool that everybody walks past, coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a
Sorry,
mask.
sir. You got to go around. You got to go around and come in the other side. This is an exit side.
But no,
that's the way
everybody's
Walmart-
coming out of the building, walks right past within half a foot of this person.
Yeah, the one in Hazel Green, Harlan it must have been like 30 feet. You had to walk down and come back around. Each day it's gotten shorter and shorter. Now it's like 3 cones. It's got like 6 feet. Everybody just walks straight through because that's one that's just not super busy.
Publix has got it where you can only walk one way down each aisle.
Yeah, and they've also shut their doors where you can only go in and out the one door. I'm like, y'all are bringing people together so it makes it easier for you to count. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
I told one of them, I'm like, listen, this is crazy. I wouldn't have to stand here and wait to come out. I could have just gone out that door if you make it where nobody comes in the outdoor. And the lady goes, well, we have to count. It's much easier if y'all run one door. I'm like, so you're going to bring me into traffic with other people because it's easier for you to count. Okay.
Well, the food line that we shop at has a sign that says 138 people maximum, which is based on the square foot of the store.
Right.
I have never seen that store with 100 people in it at any time, and they're trying to keep it down. And they have one way in and one way out.
Yeah, they're counting these Walmart and the capacity, even at the limited capacity on these Walmarts, so big, is an ungodly number. 500, 600, 700 people, 800 people. Some of them are 1,000, and you're sitting there counting.
What's up, Mr. Alex? Fat man on the flip.
Well, that's what my son works for Sam's, and he today he spent his time standing or yesterday actually, when you go in one side of the Sam's and you come out the other side of the Sam's. He was standing on the wall counting people as they went in and as they came, and subtracted them as they came out to make sure that they didn't have more than the maximum allowed people in the store. You're going to piss off a lot of people that have paid for memberships to something and can't get in, or they got to stand there and wait.
The first day that they put us on lockdown, which was the Saturday the 4th, I'm like, I'm gonna run to Costco and get a few things. Johnny had a list, and I dropped my stuff off at the post office at 11, and I got there by 11:15. The line was all through the little fake serpentine, all the way halfway down the building, and the lady, I talked to her later on. She said when we opened it at 9 or 10 o'clock, whatever time, she said it went all the way around the side of the building to the other side. People waiting to get in to Costco.
Yep.
I looked at it and went, y'all are fools. And I went home at 3:30. I did something. I'm like, well, since I'm already driving, let's go get some gas at Costco. That's the worst that'll happen because it's $1.40 a gallon. There's no line at 3:30. I walked right in, and and they were not missing anything. They still had meat. They still had bread. I wasn't looking for toilet paper, so
everybody was in panic mode.
I think the only thing hard to find now is toilet paper and paper towels. Everything else is pretty plentiful.
The food line that we shop at's got toilet paper, and each day it gets more and more and more on the shelf because the rush is over with, and so people come in and they'll buy a few rolls, but there's still some on the shelf, so their stock is slowly going back.
Yeah, we might
coming back where it's supposed to be.
We might run out of toilet paper by Christmas.
Well, there was a meme that said, and Johnny opens up the last roll of toilet paper. It's like it's 2038, and Johnny is opening up the last roll of toilet paper that his parents bought in 2020.
See, so Joni is always one when she always keeps one mega pack in there. So once she opens that one, she orders another one. Well, I told her that I'd heard there was going to be a shortage. You might want to order an extra one. And I didn't realize she did because Jacob drug it in the garage but never took out the box because she told him what it was. It was just sitting in the box. So I was somewhere and I bought some with my brother, and I'm like, we still only have one extra. I called Harlan. Walmart's got some. Do you need one of these packs? And so I bought another one. And then Johnny goes, when you told me to buy one, I bought 2 mega packs. They're both in those boxes over there. I'm like, holy crap. So I counted up. If you do the toilet paper by regular rolls, you know how it converts it? We had 497 regular rolls. I'm like,
I built one hell of a fort too. He had it piled up, and
it worked out because there was a couple of people that didn't have any. So I've been very fortunate. I've been able to send people some things, so I've sent some of that to people. I had some sanitizer left over when all the debacle went crazy. So there have been some people who are fighting cancer that have needed sanitizer. I've been able to. So it's been a blessing to others. So it's not all bad.
Now, see, appearing at the beaches, I'm getting food delivered once a week, and milk has been missing from my last 2 deliveries. We've never had a problem with milk.
Yeah,
Eggs, you couldn't find eggs. You couldn't find bread, but milk has been fine.
we couldn't find buttermilk, but regular milk was there. But now it's
The only
back.
thing you do with buttermilk is make biscuits with.
No, Johnny makes cornbread.
I just make cornbread.
I married an Alabama girl. We eat biscuits and cornbread. What are you talking about?
Yeah. You gotta have mayonnaise for your cornbread, though.
My mom was a Southern. She's a country girl. We grew up eating cornbread and pinto beans, not these out of the damn can. Some that she put on the pot, put in a pot, left on the stove all day long.
It takes some doing to maintain this massive figure.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it's much of an effort.
I know. I might have to get up and go buy biscuits in the morning. I don't even call her anymore. I just got, whenever I'm going to the post office, I grab my breakfast and I bring her one back. Yesterday, she's like, but I just ate ham and it was left over. She's like, no worry. So she had it for lunch. I'm like, you'll eat it. It's the best biscuit this part of the state. Lothar, I don't think it's going to be back to normal. I think they're going to start easing into it. I think we're foolish if you just go. I think we're social distancing for a while, but you know it's probably not a terrible thing to.
He's from Canada, isn't he, Tom?
Yeah, he's from Canada.
That's what I thought. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
I mean, these nasty people, they should have been washing their hands and not touching their face to begin with.
Yeah. Mr. Sadie says if your local Dollar General in Alabama is a bit too busy, just drive another 50 yards to the next one.
That's almost no lie. It is a little more than 50 yards, but it's insane how close they are.
Okay, so the Fayetteville Walmart to here is 22 miles. There are $7 Generals between here and there. on that road, 7 in 22 miles. There are $7 Generals.
But there's some rural places that are using them like replacement for like little small local grocery stores.
Yeah. There's a town down 21 in South Carolina. It's a little small thing. That's the biggest damn Dollar General ever seen.
Yeah, there's one.
It's like all Walmart.
There's 2 of them here that took over the neighborhood markets that Walmart closed. They've got them. They operate the gas pumps. That's the cheapest gas around here is that Dollar General gas.
Really?
Our gas at Sam's Club is $1.33.
I need
$1. I think $1.40 is the cheapest I've seen here.
Mr. Sadie, do you know why there's so many Dollar Generals? Because if you have a piece of property that's big enough to hold one of their buildings and some parking spaces, and you want to build it, they will come if the price is right. They don't care how close they are together.
We got gas for $1.29 at the grocery store.
Nice.
Well, that's because you pump it out of your backyard.
Well, yeah.
I think it's $1.44 here. It's probably cheaper by Elizabethtown. But like over here, because oil's so cheap, all the oil pumps are not pumping around here.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They just cut oil by 10 million barrels a day. So gas.
They tried it with OPEC, but then didn't the Saudis, they kept producing or something, did I hear?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they got all that settled now, though. So
did they?
Should level off, and this should be the lowest it will ever be in our lifetimes again.
Until the next one.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's going anyplace.
All right, it's been 10 minutes.
So they don't need to buy any gas.
You need another meme. It's been 10 minutes.
Yeah, the Saudis picked the wrong time to do this little deal what they did with the gas war.
Yeah, because they started that before the COVID thing really hit the U.S. But yeah, it was like the perfect storm. It kind of hit together.
It really was the perfect storm for gas to go down to as low as it would go. We had points from the grocery store, so I bought gas for 45 cents a gallon about 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
Trump saved the day again on the gas war.
I hope it stays like that through summer. I doubt it, but I gotta go back up to Wisconsin. I mean, like diesel down here is like $2.09 or something.
Now, Scott, when you moved from North Carolina to Alabama, did you make 10 trips back and forth? Did you have Mayflower come in and get you and move you?
This last time, 2 trips. I moved us 2 trips. It took 26 foot, whatever the biggest U-Haul is, twice.
No, it takes 2 trips just to move all your Amazon eBay stuff.
There's stuff in my building, in one of the storage buildings that we still hadn't opened. All Johnny's Pyrex. She has 14 medium moving boxes full of Pyrex that still have not come out of storage.
Wow.
There's stuff listed you don't even know where it's at.
Is that storage unit 1 or 2?
That's storage unit number 1. Storage unit number 2 is all resale. Storage unit number 1 is like half resale.
Scott, what made you move in by the airport?
So
is it kind of not noisy?
No, it's a municipal airport. It's a little bitty. It's the business executive airport. You can't. I hadn't heard. I mean, I'm as close as I can get to the airport in this building, and I haven't heard. Every now and then you hear a helicopter. You'll hear something come in. The bigger thing is you smell kerosene every now and then. That's the only reason you know they're doing something.
There's nothing between your lot and the airport, right?
A road, a tree, and some trees and a road.
Oh.
More Black Hawk helicopters there than anything, isn't it?
Yeah, because they work on the Black Hawk and the big hangars up. Her sister used to live in this area, and this is halfway to where her sister was way out in the middle in the boonies. And we like this neighborhood because we rented a house in it for a year, and we decided, this would be a nice neighborhood just to buy the house in. And this house was available. It was in it was the least expensive, biggest house, and it was listed at the time because it was in an estate. The day we were looking, it was like we're supposed to be here. The day it fell out of contract. The day we were looking at houses, and we put a contract on it that day. And it's also the in lot, so it was easy to put this building on. You look at it thinking this neighborhood has a lot of extra buildings, probably every 5th house. So we wanted a house that had plenty of room to put a building on. So I didn't want to be like Todd and have the wife always. She's been mad at me for years with stuff everywhere. Now everything's out here, so I don't have to worry with it.
Now, how big of a reseller were you in North Carolina?
I've been full time since 2013.
Okay.
And we moved here, and we've been here 4 years. So I've been 3 years there full time, 2.5.
You don't ever regret leaving the fast food industry.
Don't get me wrong, it's hard work, but there's a lot of good people. I've met a lot of really good people there, and I had a lot of fun. But hell no, I don't miss that. Would never go back. I live under a bridge. I went back.
A friend of mine I went to high school with, his grandfather had, or his family had, like 8 Burger Kings. And his grandfather was like one of the first franchisers. And they sold the whole shebang 3 years ago because they just got so tired of fighting employees and everything. You know, the woman fell down in the floor of the restaurant. There was no water. There was nothing. And then she ended up suing them and got like $2 million out of them. This big chain out of New York came in and said, we hear that you're thinking about selling out. We want to buy you. And they said, make us an offer. And the offer they made was like 3 times what they were thinking about asking for it.
Sold.
And they got out of the business just because it had changed so much.
Yeah, and the 25 years I was there, the people, they constantly cut labor out. And you know, instead of trying to keep their answer to holding prices down was to cut labor. And there's only so much you can do with no employees.
The average age of their employee was 60 years old. Because Modine, who was 72 years old, would come. She would come in and help open up. At 10 o'clock, she was out of there. And by God, you better have somebody there at 10 o'clock because she was gone. But they had all these retired people that they would come in and work their shift day in and day out. And they, like, one store might cut 100 payroll checks a week just because there was all these old people working there. But, you know, when I was a kid, you never saw adults working in a fast food joint. It was all high schoolers. The only adults would be the store manager.
All right,
So, Scott, Tom once asked me, do I want to do some tutoring of students now that I've been retired from teaching kids for 33 years? And I was kind of like, you are now with working in fast food. I was like, no, I think I'm done with that phase of my life right now. So,
but
this
fast food,
reselling.
I mean, you had such a fun time teaching those high schoolers.
Oh yeah.
You're in the video game business now. You don't have time for that.
That's right.
You want to take those little teenagers' money, don't you?
Yeah. All those ex-students, they're just clamoring to buy my video games.
Damn, Harlan, you got to get up at 5 a.m.?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm still sitting here.
5 a.m.
Oh, I thought you were full-time like Scott. I thought he taught you the secret of making a fortune.
No.
See, we all know that the reason Scott lives where he lives is because he's got a G550 sitting back there in a hangar back there. So when he and the boss lady want to go someplace, they just go.
Hey, I had to build this extra garage. Somebody already had 3 garages on their house, so don't hand me nothing.
Yeah.
So what do you put in the other garage?
Harlan's house is bigger than mine. Let's talk to Harlan.
No, I'm serious. What do you put in your garage? Because your vans are always sitting in the driveway.
It's full of crap that we never unloaded when we moved here.
Well, Harlan's a bachelor, isn't he?
Yeah, tell him about your mansion, Harlan. Harlan had a mansion.
I had a really big house. I don't have one now.
Because she got half, right?
No, that was
No, we sold that. I had a 6,200 square foot house before this one.
Holy shit!
Dang.
I told you. Harlan had a big house.
You could have put a lot of damn eBay stuff, Amazon stuff in that place.
This one's 2,500.
He's slumming it now.
Slumming.
Rough life.
Well, the taxes are probably nothing in Alabama.
Correct.
Property taxes are nothing here. I think this house is like $700 a year.
Yeah, ours was 600.
Good God!
Are you kidding me?
No.
Ours is $1,300.
Yeah, mine were like $3,000 in Wisconsin, and now like 500.
What's in Wisconsin? They spend so much money on everything up there. They got to tax you people.
Well, at the time when I bought the place, I was like, oh wow, this is so much cheaper because I was from Milwaukee. So like in 1990, we were paying like $5,500 a year for taxes there. So when I moved up to the north, I was like, oh wow, $1,200 a year, that's cheap. But
Yeah,
then you build and you develop, and then next thing you know, you're paying more in taxes.
see, we really hit it big here because living in Wilmington, not only do you have the tax rate that you have, but they require you to carry wind and hail, and that was $2,500 a year because of the hurricanes. And so all of a sudden, moving here, the taxes are half of what they were, and there's no wind and hail. That's winning right there.
Well, I think like here, like when Jim turns 62, then my taxes will go down by half because that they do something when you get that age, or they only like let's say your property was appraised fair market value at 100,000, they only tax you on half of the value then. And if you like do something like put some goats on it, they put you in farm rate, so you get really cheap taxes because of that.
If you put some goats on
So I
it.
need to go buy some
Yeah, I'll
goats.
be like, I'm not, yes, like I live in this neighborhood and I have like little hobby farms or farms around me. You'll have a guy, he'll just have like 2 goats so that he can be in farm rate for the land. He can't
What if I can
even
do that in
farm
my
it, he's
garage?
got a pair of goats.
Now, doesn't your property taxes go away at a certain age in Alabama?
I don't
Is
have
it
any idea.
65?
I couldn't tell you.
I think you
Just
don't
like this
have-
Contrary to
guy,
popular belief, I haven't reached 65 yet.
this guy, no, he's got like 1,500 acres, in Wyoming or someplace like that, which is a small tract of land apparently. Anyway, he gets checked for like $600 a year for him not growing tobacco, or I don't. It's not tobacco, but it's something like that for not growing it. He says, "I have no intention of growing anything on that property. It just sits there. He inherited it, so he just takes that check and
8,000 a year in
my
California.
God, Jared, where the hell do you live at?"
Cali.
Cali.
Talked to a guy the other day. His was 16 grand in New York, and he moved to Alabama. And he says, "I never went back, not even to visit." His brother
This
told
guy,
him. His brother said,
Years
"Come down
for
to Alabama." So he said, "I did, and I never went back."
Jim caretaker for those people that had that lake house in Wisconsin for forever. So the lake house in Wisconsin was around 10 or 12,000 a year, but then their main house was like 80,000 a year. So they paid over $100,000 just for property taxes on 2 pieces of property.
But if somebody can afford those kind of houses, then they're probably not worried about that.
Oh, well, if you met the man, honestly, you wouldn't think like that. You wouldn't think
Really?
he was very down to earth, very practical. You know, me and Jim always joke because I mean, this was somebody who's very rich, invested in a lot of big investment properties, was a lawyer, part owner in the stocks. He would do his own. Jim had a CBRF for him, and he goes, when they sold, he goes, "Well, I suppose you want me to give you this paperwork for your accountant for your taxes?" He goes, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "I do my own taxes. I don't have an accountant do it." I mean, this guy is like deals in huge, massive amounts of money, and he still sat down and did his own taxes. It was amazing.
When we had, if you're familiar with Sears Tower, we sold him a house, and we asked him. My dad asked him. He said, He said 77th floor of Sears Tower, and my dad said, "What suite?" He said, "No, 77th floor." they leased an entire floor of the Sears Tower.
Dang.
this guy
Now,
that I
you
used to
met
go
him, very super down to earth, very nice man. I mean,
Well, we saw him when he was on vacation too.
true. I mean, yeah. I mean, these are people that they ran in big circles.
You know, when we saw him, he was always wearing a flannel shirt and a fishing hat, and he looked like a guy who was like either a fishing guide or a bum.
Yeah, that's true. And when you would go there, I mean, they never like put on, but like when the family was all there, you'd have the Teslas would be in the yard and all the Mercedes and stuff like that.
Yeah, you didn't move far enough away. Said I was paying 10,000 3 blocks away, so I sold a house and moved to save 2,000. You should have moved states away.
Yeah.
back in about 88, I went with some friends. We went on a cruise and we flew to Los Angeles, and then went on the cruise from Los Angeles. And the guy that was driving us around was from Matthews, North Carolina, right up the road from me. Well, he's riding around, and he says, "Hey, let me tell you something." And he pointed to this house on the corner. He says, "How much do you think that house is?" And we're like, "Oh, $25,000, $30,000." He said, "That just sold for $400,000." It was like a mill house, a North Carolina mill house. It was a tiny little thing. We were just amazed. But that's the reason my neighbor about 4 houses down doesn't live in California anymore. He said just on the savings of his automobile taxes, he basically pays for the taxes on everything here.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. People paying a lot of money for their car taxes. Do y'all pay a lot?
Not really.
Hell yeah.
When it shakes out here, we're paying probably about the same as less than what we paid in Wisconsin. Now in Wisconsin, like when we do a registration, they don't call it car tax, but down here they do. It's just a weird thing they say.
I paid $296
For how many vehicles?
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say how many vehicles.
But I mean, some people we were in a chat. They were talking about paying thousands.
Yeah.
And having to get their car checked, emissions or some crap.
Oh, we have those.
Yeah, we don't do that down here.
Yeah, we're $74 a car.
Yo.
Yeah, my truck's about $70 or $80.
I think in Wisconsin my truck was like 120, and I think down here it's like around 50.
This guy.
All right, kids, I'm going to bed.
2 city blocks in Detroit.
See you, Todd.
I gotta go to bed too.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
I'm an old man. I got to get up and pack my 7 video games tomorrow.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, what time is it? Oh God, I got to get up at 3 o'clock.
It's late.
I might as well stay up. I might do some listing.
3 o'clock.
Yes, my son has to be at work at 4 o'clock.
Oh my God.
I have to get up when I wake up.
Well, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come back and go back to sleep, and when I wake up, because he gets off at 10, so I have to go pick him up. But I said, where the hell did this schedule come from?
It's time to
I
buy
don't know.
Time to buy him a car. Give him some keys.
Well, we're in the process of it.
Thanks, Tom, for having the chat. Tara, Craig, Harlan,
Scott. Glad y'all could come in.
Oh yeah, enjoyed it. Y'all a lot of fun.
See y'all.
It was good seeing y'all face to face, so to speak.
And listen to Jim. We don't actually see Jim.
Yeah, a little bit.
Listen to Jim.
Yeah, he's a background noise.
Yeah.
Well, you
Jim,
always sit on your lap.
Yeah. He doesn't have a camera set up.
Talk to us.
Here, I'll let him sit down and you can add him once.
Yeah, Wednesday's the day I don't have to get up for anything. No show
He's
tomorrow.
walking around with this stupid cane because he hurt himself.
Hey, how come your camera ain't working?
It is.
It went
Oh,
blurry.
blurry.
Yeah, you went blurry.
It's all
There
your
we go.
hotness, I guess.
I got my little cake.
It goes well with the shirt.
Dude, you must have really messed up your knee or your leg.
No, it was my ankle. I was
Oh, your
walking
ankle.
on the ramp. Well, so you're doing two things at once. I'm walking down the ramp. I got the moving truck with the ramp down. I'm walking down the ramp, and I'm looking ahead to where I'm going to be doing something to the right. I'm not paying attention, and it was slippery. It was raining. My one foot slipped, and my other foot stayed planted, and my body just went right around, and it was caught on the edge of the. They have those aluminum ramps, have those railings right on the edge, and it planted my one foot, and my body went around. Oh, did I freeze?
No, you're good.
Now you're good.
Okay, now I'm okay. Anyway, so I went around and I I could hear it snap. I just heard this crack. I'm like, oh man. So I'm on the ground. I'm like, oh, I did it now. Cause you know, you got those two bones that go down by your ankle. And my grandma did that. And I palpitated her ankle. And I remember what that felt like. So I'm right away, I'm feeling mine. I'm like, oh, if I feel those two bones, because you'll know the ankle's broke because it feels like there's two marbles underneath the skin. But I could feel it was solid. It was all one piece. So it was just ligaments or whatever. But I heard it crack when I went over. So that was scary. Anyway, so that's, what is that, 2 days now? But it's getting better.
Thanks, Gan. It's a good thing you did break it because I know she would have hated to put you down. You know, what you do with the horse, put him down.
Well, breaking your arm's bad, but I mean, at least you got your other arm, and you could still move around. I got stuff I got to do. You know, if you can't walk, it really sucks.
And I bet they'd have to have you elevated and everything else the first couple of days just to keep swelling down. Craziness.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of tough with Tara, but yeah, I mean, I elevated as long as I stayed off it as long as she let me.
Tara, I let you lay on the couch.
Listen, she allowed me to lay on the couch.
So he's laying on the couch. I'm like, okay, I'll leave him alone. So I go to ask a question. He's sound asleep. I'm like, what the hell? Your ankles hurt. Your hands aren't broke. You could go list those Texas Instrument games you've been talking about.
She made me help her list. I had to sit at the other computer and list.
You made a big deal that you wanted to list those games.
With my swollen leg.
You weren't getting it done.
So no, Scott, I did not get to elevate it with an ice pack or anything other than shots.
Because you made a mistake and fell asleep.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Anyway.
That would have been a good video. That would have went viral.
So she has been doing the horses herself, though, because I'm like, I can't walk all over the place. Oh, and she's been loading the wood boiler with wood, too. So.
Yeah, still need heat up there?
No, it's down. It's going to be in the 30s tonight. Here.
Really?
I got there. Was it 20s last night?
Well, it was like 38 during the day today, so
it
would get down to
I think it's tonight. I might get in the 20s tonight. We had snow.
Was that today? During the day.
Yeah, in the afternoon today we had snow. You know, just in the air. We didn't have nothing to stick on the ground or nothing. But
where we used to live, Easter Sunday, they got like 16 inches.
No.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm not lying.
Yeah, it's a good place to get the hell out of. I mean, I liked it. I lived there for a long time, but I mean, you're right in that dip with the jet stream. If you look at northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, you got that one little dip. It's the 3% coldest place in the where we lived was in the continental United States. There was only 2% of the nation was colder than where we lived for average temp. So that's just dumb. Don't do that. I lived there since 1970. It was not smart, but oh well. I was 5 years old. My family moved me there.
Like I said, we got the AC on. My fat's starting to sweat.
Is that normal? You need the air?
He said, yeah.
Really? Huh. Because, I mean, it was 80 here, 83, and we didn't have the air on for that. Last year was 80.
I'm 62 years old.
Oh my God, Tom, you got to toughen up a little bit.
Sweaty and grumpy.
Okay, if this is the end of the world, you got to toughen up a little bit and live through the heat so you don't like die right away at the apocalypse.
Tom has his own heat flashes.
Tara, I will deal with that when it happens. Right now, I've got the AC turned on.
Yeah.
You see what I'm talking about, though, at Nurse Tara?
Well, if it's 80, you don't need the air conditioning on. You should toughen up a little bit, learn how to live with a little bit of heat. Because otherwise, you walk outside, it's like, oh, you never go outside because it's too hot.
You've got your own Nurse Ratchet.
Yeah. You hurt your foot. Your arms aren't broken. You can type.
It's okay.
Think about it is, though.
It's 11:30 in the morning. Your sound is in the middle of becoming a bomb. There, I said it.
How does he take this abuse?
But think about it is, though, I can't feel.
Remember that TV commercial with
you would leave Wisconsin and drive to Orlando, and other than stopping to get gas, you wouldn't feed your family or get a hotel room to break up the trip.
I've had to suffer for that. I have had to suffer.
Tom, she don't stop to let you go to the bathroom.
Yes, I do. No, this is what he'll do is like take me to Walmart. I gotta pee. I'm like, well, it takes the same amount of time to go home as it does to go to Walmart, and it just to me it seems sort of stupid. Why don't you just go home and take a pee?
Yeah, because I'm a 54-year-old man. Sometimes 54-year-old men have to pee on a regular basis.
Just nod your
Well,
head
if
and
it's
say
the
yes,
same
dear.
amount of difference in time to go home versus Walmart, why do you have to pee at the Walmart?
Oh my God. Yeah, this virus thing's got to end.
Bless you, my son.
Get out of the house.
Poor Jim.
It's a hard knock life.
I'm gonna tell you what now. Good night, Kid Stillmore. You were. I don't want to see any bruises or anything now.
Next time I see him, he's gonna be like in an arm sling. Something about I felt
Side of his head will be all swollen up.
I made the mistake of telling Tara I wouldn't list anything.
54-year-old man need naps.
Why not, Jim? Because my arm hurts. I'll show you hurt. Next time you're gonna sling.
Beat you with your own.
Man.
We're just kidding, Tara. We love you. We know you wouldn't hurt you.
Now she's running. Now she's on my son. He's not going to bed early enough. Yeah, he gets up like 12:30.
Hey, Brandon.
Brandon, yeah, because he's off school, so he's got no reason to wake up. So he plays video games till the wee hours of the morning. Then he gets up at around 12:30. What's for
God,
lunch?
it sounds like my boys.
Yeah.
They don't have to go to work. They stay up all night gaming.
Oh yeah. Well, he's keeping up on his stuff. He does during and when he first wakes up. Then he'll do some. They give him these packets. They have to these. I don't forget what they got a name for it. Whatever. It's Cyber Day, except it turned into Cyber 2 months. It's supposed to be it's set up for like snow days. The kids can keep up with their schoolwork while they got a day or two off for snow. But now it's gone over a month now.
Yeah.
So.
And see what's so bad about it is these school district people, they don't know what the hell to do. I mean, they're just trying to figure it out as they go.
Yeah.
And a lot of schools are just called it quits.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, I think ours is going to.
Hey, Tom. Other county. My social studies teacher said, you better do this work, and you're lucky you are doing this work because the county next to us has no work, but they gotta make it up at the end of the year.
Oh boy.
I feel bad.
I don't know if you caught that. He says there's another school
other county.
Another county where the kids have to make up where they're going to have to make up the schoolwork in the summer.
Oh wow!
They're talking about. I don't know if you heard that in the news. They were talking about having this national education guy. He's like, well, the best thing we could do is just have them all repeat the grade because it's going to be too much for them to catch up in the fall. I'm like, oh boy, how'd you like to be? When you're a senior in high school, I could have graduated a year ago, except for that when we had that coronavirus, back whenever in 2020. That's why every senior, whatever when you graduate, everybody be graduating a year late. That would not be good.
Yeah, I'm graduating and I'm 20.
Yeah.
It's going to be like the seniors here. They're like if you've got a C or better. They're
just going to push him through. Well, he has to return his schoolwork. He's got a manila envelope for whatever, a couple weeks worth of work, and then we have to mail that back or drop it off at the school, and then meanwhile they've sent another packet. So he's actually got to keep up with schoolwork.
Do you have to wear like a hazmat suit when you go into the school to drop it off?
No, you just actually. Well, we mailed it in, but they have people come out to get it. You don't even go in the building. So.
Oh man, because I'm telling you what, some of the, I know you got to take this serious. You got to take it serious. But some of these people, It may, because their mask and their gloves match. It's leopard print or whatever. Some of them to me are like, man, you think this is a status symbol? You're wearing you get to wear your mask and not be arrested.
I think it's like in World War II, which is history I was not around in World War II, but in World War II, they were making ammunition. They had women in ammunition factories making Krag ammunition. I don't know if you remember the Krag from the Spanish-American War. There were no Krags in the service in the U.S., and they later sold them as surplus. And it was a question of why were they manufacturing it? It was part of the war effort. They were having people they were having scrap drives for metal that they didn't need. It was to get people involved in the war effort. So everybody's doing their part, even if the part was completely unnecessary. The government had a huge stockpile of scrap metal they couldn't even use, but they're still having people do scrap drives because they didn't dare stop because they needed people behind the war effort. So, and I think that's what you got here is a little bit with the mandatory mask wearing and stuff. They want everybody to feel like they're all in this together or whatever. It's like it's part of your decision. It's not like the government imposed it on you. You participated in it.
I just don't go out. Unless I have to go get something or drop a kid off at work or whatnot, I have no reason to go out.
Me either.
Yeah, you are. You're on the damn road all the time, Scott.
I haven't left. Well, I didn't. Technically, I went to Tennessee one day last week, but it's only 12 miles.
Is there anything at the state line or anything checking you?
No, not between North Carolina and South Carolina.
No.
All right.
Every now and then you find Tennessee sheriff. Other than that, that's about it.
I want to run my
heard
truck
that
up
Florida was
there.
going to check people.
Yeah, Florida was going to check them. Rhode Island. There's several states, but
who the hell goes to Rhode Island? Sorry, didn't mean to offend anybody. They already got 3 thumbs down.
I know, Tom. People who live in Rhode Island. Their parents probably moved them there too. It's not their fault.
Well, what I was trying to say a while ago was that this guy that worked on his computers for him, he owns 2 city blocks in Detroit. They're just vacant lots that they tore the buildings down. And I said, why the hell did you buy 2 city lots in Detroit? He said it was cheap. Because this was way back there when they were just basically giving it away just to get people that can pay the taxes on the property. He said, sooner or later, all these damn Yankees are going to be in the South, so I got to have some place to live. So we'll just go back up north.
Yeah, Detroit's changed a lot. Oh, no, wait a minute. It hasn't changed really at all.
What?
With the problem with buildings falling over.
Yeah.
Oh, when you guys were talking about bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., when I wound up I saw there's a traffic jam. I take, 294? I think it's the bypass around Chicago. I usually take that bypass. Well, I wound up.
That highway has a name.
I think it's 94, isn't it? There's 94 and 294. Or
Yeah,
90?
we usually take.
Anyway, I wound up going straight through, and I took the Skyway because I saw there was a big traffic jam. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to go through and take the Skyway. So I took the expressway through Chicago and hit the Skyway. When you're on when you're approaching the Sky, because once you're up there, you can't see nothing. But when you're approaching it, there's factories. There's big. At one time, there was industry there. You can see these buildings. They have holes in their roofs bigger than a Walmart. They're these huge factory complexes and stuff. They could go through and they probably can't still use that building, but they could tear those buildings down and put manufacturing down there. You have a pool of people who could probably use jobs.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's places you can work on it.
A friend of mine from high school, his grandfather they made socks. He had a little sock business up near Cary. And I guess his building, he had just a metal building. I guess that thing was maybe 100 by 300. He eventually had 3 sock machines in there. And they ran 2 shifts. And everybody got a paycheck and everybody got a bonus. Got part of the take. They got a bonus. They were having people running sock machines that were making $175,000 a year by the time they got their bonus. Wow. He said there was more Mercedes and Cadillacs and Lincolns sitting in that parking lot But he said, I didn't have to worry about people not showing up. And I was creating jobs. And he said he started out with one machine, making white socks and white athletic socks, sending them to, and he sold them to like Dollar General and Family Dollar, those kind of things. And he said, if you had 100 people across the country making socks like they did, there's only like 10 people at each company. But, that'd be a lot of people working that's creating product to be sold in the United States instead of buying everything from them, Mexico or China or whatnot. My sister-in-law or my wife's family worked for American Thread their whole lives. And they just about closed the plant up in Marion, North Carolina down. And they make the thread that goes in like airbags that has to be certified and whatnot. They sent that to Mexico. They had one lot of it come back into the country that would not pass the test. So they had to start recalling all this thread they had shipped out to different manufacturers. And they immediately brought it back to the country because it cost them $1 billion. And because they were not as tight on quality control down there as they were up here. And it's the company's fault because it was their plants. They should have known better. But
they're so strict on that because you're only going to use that thread one time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's on a pair of Levi's where it's got to hold up for a couple of years. It's
Right.
on an airbag. It's only going to be you're only going to use that. It's going to be less than 30 seconds. That thread's going to be used.
Tom.
What do we do when we lose Tom?
All right, we're taking over.
We have to elect a new leader.
He dropped earlier for a little bit. It's pretty quick though.
His internet's been out from that storm.
Yeah, he said he lost power for a good while and then was without the internet for a while, obviously. I would say we haven't lost power, but as soon as I say that, we will.
Yeah, we haven't.
Yeah, those storms, they went around us.
Yeah, they went south of us too. We got fortunate.
Tar says there's frost on the hot tub cover, so
That's the best time to get out there, isn't
it? Except it's empty.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't be a good time then.
Yeah.
It makes it tough.
When I was up north, I tried heating one through the winter. It ain't cheap. It's a lot of fun, but it ain't cheap.
Oh, I bet.
All right, I'm going to bed while I don't have a headache, so I can wake up to a headache.
All right.
All right. That's a graded one.
Not to mention she called, and I'm already in trouble for not coming to bed earlier.
Oh boy.
Evidently, I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah. Enjoyed it.
All right. Oh, now Tom's back.
That's all right. Our internet's acting real funky. But anyhow.
At least you got power.
Yeah. God, that was a long day yesterday. No power. I went through a bunch of boxes and got out a bunch of stuff to list. Have I got them listed? No. But I got it ready to go.
Hey, if you want to stay on the list, I'll hang with you. I need to take some pictures.
I'm getting ready to go take a shower and make a pot of coffee and try to stay going until I have to take you into work.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm ready.
Yeah, Craig. Tara's in the doorway going.
Yeah, I did all my.
So I guess I won't be hanging with you.
Well, you can hang out as long as you want.
Jim, you got to have a backbone, son. You cannot let her boss you around like that.
That saves time.
He knows what's best for him.
Yep. You wake up in the morning, you roll over, you look in the face, and just say, I love you, and I'm sorry. And the rest of your day goes really good.
You know,
It got me this far.
sometimes it's just better just to let it go.
It's like when we get an argument. It's like, well, whose fault was it? It wasn't my fault. It was your fault. Blah. I just finally say, I don't really care. Okay, it can be my fault. Because I don't
Yeah,
care.
but when you do that, it's not because you're really taking the blame, which irritates me more. You're
Y'all been married
saying
what,
it's
20 years?
He's never sincere about it.
She's saying it's not the same because I'm not really accepting the blame. I'm just
you're
taking
not
them. I don't.
sincere. You're like
You want to just like let's close this, shut this baby down, and move on to something else, right?
Yeah,
Just
because
take
he's
the blame
done
and
it in
go.
a way where I know he's not taking the
Well,
blame.
The Japanese have a business model that's different than the American business model, and it's like in factories. In America, if something goes wrong in a factory, the first thing a knee-jerk reaction is, well, whose fault was it? Right? Well, it's got to be somebody's fault. We got to find out. In a Japanese factory, they don't care whose fault it was because their assumption is that everybody comes to work that day to do a good job, and it was an accident. Accidents happen. Their main focus is how do we prevent this type of accident from happening again. But the person who actually made the mistake is really not important to them.
Right.
So, and that's actually a good way to look at things.
That's the way their culture is, though.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and everybody